crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Hey, the crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. See you, boss.
.com.
Connor Happer.
What a great appearance from dear friend Alex Sindelar,
What a cool guy.
who has brought this lovely hunk of junk.
Can you just show it? Just here. I'll get up and I'll put it in front of the camera.
Well, are we on the
grab
camera?
it,
Josh has got the camera.
Yeah. You're on the camera. They can see
Go
it.
ahead, Gary.
For the radio audience, it's
That's a big Coca-Cola.
Look at that thing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
One of those gas station cooler Coca-Cola cans.
Could you imagine?
What are you doing?
Could you imagine filling that up with ice
Hey,
and
so
having a beautiful summer day?
Here's what we
some
have to do.
singles.
We have to fill that up with Diet Coke and Coke. And then when we go to the first home game of the year for Nebraska football, we have to ram that thing into the press box like it's a battering ram.
Oh,
We have to
send
take
a
it,
message.
and we just rush in there. We just rush through the media entrance and we bring that in there, and then everybody has Diet Coke and Coke to drink.
Send a message.
How come we don't have Alex for a baseball man's segment? Just a perspective on life and baseball.
Bunting. Yeah. I don't know.
Both the
a great
red, white,
question.
and blue flags and the act of trying to get on base.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you remember last year, was it a Sunday game, a Creighton game, where
Was
Alex
this
all of a
camera
sudden disappeared, and the next thing you know, he's out squeegeeing the field?
That's right. I think this was 2 years ago when we were doing a game. There was a rain situation, and Alex is like, I think I'm gonna go down there, and I'm like, all right, see you later. Sounds good. Awesome. Fantastic. So that's what we have.
Does that just stay in the office, or is that being taken home to the Happer residence?
Well, no, I don't know. We have restarted the process of gathering stuff back into this room. Because the stuff,
The bosses had their chance to clean the studio out and paint it.
and they missed it.
the stuff gave it character for a long time, and then the stuff went away. But then the stuff is now coming back because we're back. We don't have a TV in this corner anymore, so we have this big Coca-Cola
Do I have to bring
cooler.
back the Jet Award football? Do I have to return that? Okay.
Yes, you do.
I think it's time.
Yes, you do.
It's been looking really good on my mantle. I mean, it's a sharp looking football.
Michael Severe might kill you if you don't bring that back in.
Well,
he might murder you.
He's not.
Well, he
gonna
thought it
kill
was
me.
for himself, not for the radio station.
Do you know the story where Michael gave it to me, and I thought he was gifting it to me because of just we're very good friends.
Yes, and then I
was
got a text from Michael. I was like, "Hey, did the boy bring the
boy? Jeez,
did the boy bring the thing back in?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
He got really mad at me when he found out that I wasn't there.
Yeah, needs to be here.
And now I had to take it away because we were supposed to paint.
Let's
and we
have
did
a
not
garage
paint.
sale. Let's have a 1620 The Zone garage
Who was
sale.
gonna? Why? What do you mean?
bit.
We have nothing in here.
Good bit.
Who's gonna buy what?
We have stuff that's out in the hallway that we
Yeah.
had to move out of the studio because it was going to get painted.
We've had I believe this predates you being here, Matt.
Probably does.
We've had multiple dumpster days,
Yes.
which I love dumpster days. Like we had dumpster day last
What's
year.
dumpster day?
Where they just park a big dumpster out there and people start
Throw
throwing
stuff
junk
away.
in there.
Whatever you got.
but like, do people go back in the dumpster and like, oh, I actually want that?
I grabbed a thing from a dumpster
I
last
was-
year.
yeah.
I'll say it.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
What'd you grab?
I don't know. I can't remember what it was. It was junk. It's probably sitting on my desk. somewhere.
Dumpster diving, not a bad idea. If I'm being honest with you.
Whole question.
If you find if you find what you want and it's in a dumpster, just go and get it. It's no big deal.
We have several. We're about to add another microphone to the dumpster.
Here's
something like that.
Here's another thing too. Like we would do dumpster days like at the end of the year for grade school. And so like all the kids would go out and like you would have designated kids who would like take all the books and all the pamphlets
I
and then
remember
throw
that.
them out. Right.
That was an excuse to
Well,
make the kids clean. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, what I would do is I
Like,
knew
we
that
have free labor. Why not just use these kids?
I knew that the grade ahead of us, they were also cleaning out their stuff at the same time. And so I would steal like some of the books and the pamphlets from the dumpster for like the next year because they just used the same material. And so I would take it from the dumpster, and then next year I would already have some of the answers, some of the homework and whatnot.
That's why you're resourceful.
Exactly. I was
Resourceful.
incredibly resourceful in the 6th grade.
Very resourceful. So we'd
Never
like
got
to.
caught.
I don't know if they know. I don't know if Dan and the boys know that this is here, but thanks to the Chuckbox grounds crew for your kind donation.
What are you going to do with that?
What am I going to do with it? Look at it. It's a cooler. I am, I love coolers.
I'm aware.
All right.
We've talked about this.
Here, so pose with it. I'm gonna send it to Steve at Coke. Yep.
Send it to Steve. Yeah, send it to Steve.
We can get filled up. Can we get Monster energy drinks?
Yeah, text Steve and say, fill this
Fill
sucker.
this right now.
Fill this sucker. He's like, I got you.
Do it.
Awesome.
I gotta make sure I send it to the right Steve.
Yeah, there's multiple Steve
The
Kings.
Coca-Cola cooler is a pathway
All right,
to
it has
many
been sent.
drinks, some considered unnatural.
I don't know what that. What
I
was
have
that?
no idea what that is.
That was me doing my Darth Sidious. That was
Darth Sidious.
That was my impression.
Darth Sidious. I don't know about the
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars. I don't know.
How do
about-
you? Okay.
I don't know
It's
about
okay,
any of
man.
the Star Wars.
You know what? I'm not going to be one of those.
Were they
people.
drinking Coke?
In no, but I think they probably will be in Spaceballs too.
They had product placement in Star Wars.
No, they did not.
Really?
No. You couldn't buy.
That's
any
really
of the
surprising.
stuff.
They have never had product placement.
What-
I think
what-
they
they
will
had
garner
it's a whole other world with a bunch of different things that they have written and created.
So was Game of Thrones. They put a Starbucks in there.
Yeah.
What? They did not put a Starbucks.
Yeah, they
in
forgot
Game of
to
Thrones.
take somebody's coffee cup
Oh,
off the set.
Okay.
No, I think that was purposeful, wasn't it? They just put
Somebody was in a
No.
contract dispute.
No,
Yeah.
no.
And they left it there.
At no point did Jon Snow go, "Hey guys, before we go and fight at the wall, I got to get my caramel macchiato."
Yeah. Well, that would have been a great line if he said it, though.
I'll take a double tall, no fat, cold foam latte.
Wow, those are a lot of words.
I know. It's almost like I have a sister and I have to do her order all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm on Starbucks pickup duty.
I wouldn't know what to do if I tried to order a coffee that wasn't coffee. Where do I? What's the first
What do you
possible
mean?
word
What do
I
you
could
mean?
say?
Frappuccino. I'll take a caramel
What?
frappuccino.
But what is it?
It's basically it's icy coffee.
Icy coffee.
Yeah, if you had an icy, but it was with coffee, is the best way to describe it.
Oh, like a
Yeah,
what are they? Yeah,
like
okay.
an icy. It's just an icy,
I think
but
we
it's
first
coffee.
start with venti or grande.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know
What's your
what I don't know what that.
Yeah,
is.
what that-
Stop
whatever your
acting.
size is.
Stop acting like you're so tough because you don't know. Grande's medium, venti's large. That's easy.
No, I literally don't know.
It's okay. Now you
they,
know.
They ask me every time, and I'm like, they're like, what are the sizes? They're like venti, grande, and whatever. I'm like, what is the most medium? What is-
Grande.
grande. Okay,
Grande.
So I'd like a grande.
It's the second one said, therefore it infers that it's the medium option.
Okay.
Speaking about ices, you know you can get spiked ices at movie theaters now.
Yeah.
I
you can do a lot of things at movie theaters that you shouldn't be able to do.
You mean charge $10 for a bag of popcorn?
Or bring your blankets.
Connor, there's an interesting
Whoa,
question on the
whoa.
YouTube chat. We know what's going on under that blanket.
Yeah,
by
we
the
do.
way.
That's right.
Perverts.
It's cold in movie theaters.
I was about to say,
No.
that's BS. You can bring a
That's-
blanket to a movie theater.
No, you shouldn't be able to.
What do you mean?
Melanie Dozier, Jason McGee, 8th grade field trip.
If you're in a
Yeah,
couple,
watch out.
if you're a part of a couple and you bring a blanket to a movie theater, we know what's going
We
on.
know
under there.
exactly what's going
They're
on.
staying warm. That's what's going on.
No, they're not.
By using bodily friction.
Yeah.
Mike,
Like it's not on them
asked-
though. That if they get past the people that take your tickets,
No,
and
no,
you still get the
you were
blanket.
encouraged to bring the blankets to the movie
Yeah.
theaters by the theater.
They sell them in the lobby.
What we're saying is you shouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Whoa, what theater do you go to that they're selling blankets?
Josh-
Majestic.
Josh goes to the movies all the time. You don't think he knows this?
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's so bad about making out at a movie theater?
They're not making out.
They're not making out. They're making out in different ways.
No, there's no way we have graduated to that
We
type of activity.
1000%.
Have you seen it with your own eyes?
every week?
Oh,
Now maybe
there's no way.
Okay, so maybe my perspective is different because I go to the Tuesday afternoon where I'm the
Oh.
youngest person in the theater.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not many blankets going on.
No.
Okay.
And if there were, by the time you get that age, who cares? You don't need a blanket to cover anything. And good on you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually,
What's the
We're
YouTube?
support.
What's the YouTube comment?
It's from our friend Mike.
Matt, you need to meet Mike.
I've met Mike.
Bet.
Mike and I met at the Omaha Baseball Village.
Did he give you his
Connor.
pamphlet?
He told me he was proud of me.
You don't know Jackie's coffee order?
No. I don't.
You don't go get your wife a
You
coffee?
you don't mess with that. You don't go into that realm of.
I don't really
Marriage.
go get coffee. I don't really go.
But you drink coffee every
Wait,
day.
you just said that.
I don't
really don't go.
I don't really go get coffee. I make coffee.
Yeah. You never used the Keurig when I bought it.
Because I got my
Mhm.
coffee at home.
Okay.
I got what I need. Got what I need.
Get
at home.
what you
no,
need.
to answer the question, Mike, I do not know my wife's coffee order.
That's kind
but
of,
I
that's
do
kind of shocking and surprising.
I
if I'm
do
being
have
honest.
a suspicion that it changes frequently. So how would I know?
Okay.
Look, coffee.
Okay.
It's a moving
let me tell you
target.
something. Coffee's expensive, man. It's like get coffee every day for somebody else. Like that's a lot of money. If you get coffee 7 times a day, about $5 is a standard cup now. If you're going to Starbucks, that's $40 a week. In a year, that's $2,080 that you're spending
Think
on
about
coffee.
it. You could have like 50 Ken Palm subscriptions.
Ooh.
Just hand them out to all your friends.
Have you gotten your PFF yet?
I don't think I've been a PFF guy.
Oh,
I don't think I've been a PFF
I bought
guy.
my PFF about a month ago. It was great.
I got all my my football season subscriptions are like I don't have any like tool. Maybe I do need some tools like that.
You should get PFF is great.
A lot of the stuff for college is free, which is nice.
I can't find an all 22. Is what that's.
No, you
my-
got to know somebody, right?
I know. I can't.
You can
Can't
get it.
find it.
You get
But-
it. Well, they cracked down too. We and Jacob were just talking about this last night. They cracked down on the synergy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there used to be many people logged into team
Yeah.
oriented synergy accounts, and not anymore. Right, Gary?
Ooh. Well, I haven't tried since the end of the season.
Yeah.
So
Well, Jacob's tweeting out clips from Josh Dix last night, and I'm like, interesting. He's like, yeah, I got it before the crackdown. Got it for the
Oh.
crackdown.
I've
Now they're
been,
crackdown. Crack.
I've been booted. I got to find my way back.
You gotta get
I've
back
got
on.
to find my way back. But PFF, actually, I'm not that I'm like an advertiser for PFF. Actually, great. It's actually phenomenal. For like after a game, immediately it's there. You just look it up. You go. You get the grades. You get to like. It's great for scouting. Should get it.
I'm gonna go
Good.
look at KenPom right now. What do you think's going on there right now? Oh, look,
Nothing.
it's the same as it always is.
Nothing is going on.
he
It's
tweeted out
amazing.
like 2 weeks ago that he was doing an update.
Really?
Whoa.
What is he going to update? Nobody's played games.
Creighton finished at 35, by the way.
What did Nebraska
In
finish at?
KenPom?
Yeah. Nebraska 46.
Look at that.
What
with
did
all-
Omaha finish?
Omaha.
Because at one point they were 317.
Omaha.
1-6-5.
Nice.
That's a hell of a jump.
Hell yeah.
I also heard about this game that you're teasing. What's up with that? What's going on?
We teasing games?
We're teasing games.
We're always teasing.
I love
The,
that.
opener to the season. Very juicy, nice little game.
Nice little game.
Very
Not
juicy,
played, not
nice
played
little
here,
game.
but not played there.
Put it on the graphic. We got a very juicy, nice little game coming.
Nothing better.
Whatever it is, it's juicy.
It will not be played at Baxter Arena,
Okay.
but it also will not be a road game.
On the power rankings of type of games that I like, juicy, nice little game.
I love
up
it.
there. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
the problem is, and granted, they don't have the Summer League Player of the Year. They lost their first team guard. They're deeper and more athletic and bigger than they've ever been, and they look good in the first month that I've seen them. Like,
That's
I
good.
mean, they're going to start 6'10", 6'10", 6'8". I mean, they're going to be tall.
big.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is their RPI finished the year like at 143, and so schools are hesitant to play them. So they're playing actually
Oh yeah.
They're
They're in
playing
the danger zone.
in the non-con. They're playing a team home and home because they can't find games.
yeah.
They
Wow.
offered a couple of teams. We'll go play at your place. It won't be a paycheck game as long as you come to our place. And schools are like, nah, we're good.
Wow.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy.
That's where
So they're being creative and thinking outside of the box.
remember
of how
that
to
was
get
the whole
games.
deal with like this is a little different because it's football, but like UCF was trying to get Florida and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they're like, we're not gonna do this unless it's 2 games at our place, and I don't know, maybe we'll play you at a neutral site or something like that. There's no advantage to us playing you if you're
No.
the big dogs,
Th-
which sucks. It's a bad it's a great spot to be, but it's a bad spot to be.
This is it's a common occurrence though, right? Where it's like when you make the tournament, it's so much harder to get games the next season because you made the tournament.
We gotta get Nebraska some games. What-
Oh,
we
they
get-
they
I
have
think
a-
Nebraska's fine not
they
having
have a
games.
bad. For the most, they have a typical Nebraska non.
Yeah, what come on. They used to do a game every year.
Oh, you mean Nebraska Omaha?
No, I'm talking about
Oh.
Nebraska versus a big team
Yeah.
in basketball.
Well, I
Well-
think Creighton is that's it for them. That's kind of
it
what
should
they've
be more.
established.
They got to get them a good.
Well, they've used the Pentagon game to be considered a big game.
They could get
Pentagon's a popular place.
They could get a big name non-con team in there. Do a home and home with them.
I mean, they do.
Who would you want?
They played St. Mary's and they played St. John's a couple years ago.
St. Mary's was at the Pentagon.
So they're going to Kansas City.
St. John's was a Gavitt game. Doesn't count.
I would love, the KU home and home they did was fantastic.
Yes, more of that. More of that. Well, I guess everybody is in the Big Ten now, so you just unless you did like a non-con game with UCLA or something like that.
That's a great point from Nebraska's standpoint in baseball, because you used to play Iowa and Minnesota as non-cons.
Right.
Now you're lucky if you get them on a weekend for the conference.
Right. Exactly. Scheduling baseball games. Woo. It's hard out there. Imagine, think about what Oregon State had to do this year.
I know.
Oregon State had to play anybody anywhere at any time, and they still made the College World Series.
So I don't know if you heard, and it wasn't Mitch, their head coach, that mentioned it. I think it was their ops guy. They started out this time last year. They just sent out a mass email.
Yeah, they're like, "We'll play you."
Really?
You don't necessarily have to come to Corvallis, but we're looking for games.
We need games, point blank. Period. If you have an open weekend, all of our weekends are open. Literally every single game is open.
Are we done with the whole Pac-12, Big 12, or I guess not Pac-12, but Big 12 SEC challenge? And we're done with the are we not doing that? Because I think the smaller conferences are.
Isn't the Big 10? Isn't there a Big 10, Big 12 situation?
I
love the conference challenge.
Well, the Gavitt games are done.
Yeah,
the which I always like the Gavitt games because there was one year where Creighton, Nebraska was a Gavitt game.
Yeah,
Nebraska played Villanova, they played St. John's.
I just haven't seen them. I haven't been following it, to be honest, but I haven't seen that they're doing they're still doing these challenges, which I think the challenges were a fun way to do non-con.
They never got a good Gavitt game at home.
And they never, in the ACC, they're always playing Clemson.
Or Boston College.
Yes.
There was the one year
Miami.
The one year they played Miami was the year after they made the NCAA tournament, and they were like, all right, here we go. Yeah, that was okay.
But I wonder if those come back, because
next year,
not this year, but next year you'll be able to play 32 games.
Yeah.
So you'll have an extra game to go schedule.
They should do a challenge.
I think so Mike says, I think the Big East and the Big 12 are still,
I think there's,
because Creighton played Oklahoma State and Texas.
I think the Sun Belt might be doing one with a different smaller conference, if I'm not mistaken.
The Sun Belt?
Yes.
I have no idea.
That's a baseball conference.
There you go. Coastal Carolina.
Okay, so how would you like to do this? What if Nebraska football was an independent? What would their schedule look like?
Oh my God, this is a great
Let's
topic
schedule
alert.
Nebraska's football schedule as an independent.
This is a great topic alert.
So you got to play the Kansas teams. Play Kansas, play Kansas State. You definitely have to play Missouri.
Oh, you just want to go back to the Big 12 North? Interesting.
Literally.
Interesting. I think that's a great idea, Matt.
Kansas State, Missouri.
That's an awesome idea.
Okay,
Iowa State, maybe?
And then, let's use Iowa State, Colorado. Why not Oklahoma?
Yeah.
And then how about this too? You go ahead, you play your lead-up games. Just play North Texas or Texas State,
Okay, so let's use the Notre Dame model. You have 3 protected yearly rivalries.
Okay.
So grab your 3 games.
Yeah.
And
Oklahoma,
we have 9
Colorado,
more to schedule.
Iowa.
No, whoa, wait. Are we doing this for football or basketball?
Football.
Oh, for football.
Oklahoma, Colorado, Iowa.
Okay.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
But which one's Black Friday?
No. You know what?
Which one's Black Friday?
Black Friday's Oklahoma. But
Black Friday's Oklahoma, old school. Interesting.
But I would replace Colorado. You know what?
You don't want Colorado.
I don't. I want Texas. I want to play Texas.
Okay, but they're not a protect. I don't think you protect that because they didn't play them ever.
I know, but I'm talking about now. I'm talking about right now.
3 protected.
We're going historically.
You're probably going to have to play a service academy or 2. So you're probably going to play Army or Navy or Air Force.
Yeah.
Why do you have to play a service?
Because
academy?
that's what
I mean.
Notre
I think
Dame
if
does.
we're looking at independent.
Okay.
So 1 year you get Army.
Well, let's just say nobody is in any conference.
Okay, so it's wide open. It's got
so those 3 protected rivalries.
So we're agreeing on Colorado, Oklahoma, and Iowa.
Yes.
All right.
I'd want to play.
We'll figure out which one's Black Friday later.
I'd want to play Wisconsin.
My vote would be Colorado.
I want to play Wisconsin for sure. Mark it down, and I would want to play Minnesota. as well.
Okay.
Because I like
So some sort of weird hybrid Big 12 North, Big 10 West thing.
Yes, exactly. Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota from the Big 10 North or Big 10 West.
Can we get back to the days in the 80s when Nebraska would play that odd home and home with an SEC school like Auburn or South Carolina?
So I would want to play LSU. Like that would be my first.
Whoa.
I think the head coach of this team would be like, I'm going to need a 9-year contract.
Well, no. You got to make your non-con games are going to be Indiana. You are playing Mary Seat of the Blind. You are playing FDU, and you're playing Old Dominion. Okay, and then you will have 9 pretty competitive games.
But who are your who specifically would you identify as the Garbo teams?
Those 3. I just Old Dominion, FDU, and
I don't
Bowling
think Fairleigh
Green.
Dickinson has a football team.
Exactly. That is the point. Like the point is
That'd be a scam. You're selling tickets for a game that Nebraska is going to play against a team that
doesn't
have a
exist.
football team.
Yeah.
Well, that was almost like the Husker games, right?
Yeah.
It's essentially what they did.
That one year they tried to play Chattanooga and nobody would let them.
I think
How dare you schedule Chattanooga?
you would have to.
That's got to be in the book, right?
Yeah, that
has to be part of the book
that one
of
time.
the saga of trying to schedule Chattanooga.
Well, that was when they were trying to get out of Oklahoma, right? Was it or
No, that was the COVID where they had so they got to the week
that was a COVID.
where
yeah.
it was Wisconsin, right? Wisconsin couldn't play.
They're like, we'll go play Chattanooga. We'll do it. I swear. And they're like, no, you won't.
We'll do it.
No.
What a beautiful team, Chattanooga. We'll play them.
Yeah. John emails in, by the way. I know these things are hard to remember, but Creighton can no longer play Texas in the Big East Big 12 Challenge because Texas is not the Big 12. They are hard to remember. Texas State is in the Pac-12 now, starting next year.
So
Remember the
are
Pac-12?
we in agreement? Oklahoma, Colorado, Iowa,
Yep.
Wisconsin,
Sure.
Minnesota,
Sure.
Kansas State,
Okay.
Kansas.
7 games. That's 7.
7. So we have 2 left. Because we have the 3 non-cons, and now we have those 7. We have Kansas State.
That's a tough schedule.
Then I would do.
Give me like a Purdue or something like that.
Okay, I'll give you a Purdue. You know what? Northwestern. Let's play Northwestern.
Actually, yes, but it has to be at Wrigley every year.
Yes, totally agree.
All
We can set it up.
Why
we
can't
can
we go
bunk
play
it to
at Soldier
McMaster's.
Field?
No, you don't want it. Don't play at Soldier Field.
The-
And we don't want to.
Hey, Nebraska
stop.
was going to play Northern Illinois at Soldier Field.
Guys,
Were.
the Bears are already bad with crappy grass. We don't need more people playing on the grass to make it
Could
crappy.
you imagine the horrific comedy of special teams errors that Nebraska would make at Soldier Field?
You thought the double doink was bad. That wind, man, let me tell you, that wind is different. You get up there, you get by the art museum. I don't know why the wind blows differently by the art museum, but as long as I've been growing up, it's always been a different wind over there.
Well, it's up by it's over by the lake.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's just a different wind. It's a different wind from everywhere else that's also by the lake.
Hey, I was going to ask you, Matt, by the way.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chicago. You love Chicago.
Yeah, my hometown.
Have you watched The Bear?
No, I have not. No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. It paints Chicago in a nice light.
Yeah. That's part of the reason why I haven't watched it.
Because you would get offended.
I don't know how I would feel about it. It's kind of.
It's only one way to know.
You want your city to be painted in a poor light?
I like it when my
Sanctuary
city's
city?
Gotham. That's what I like. I like it when my city is in the Batman movie.
Oh, it's dark and cold for most of the series.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
perfect. It's awesome.
All right.
Have
so
you
might like it?
Have you watched this season?
Yeah, we finished it this weekend. It's
They should have shut her down maybe after year 2.
Whoa.
It is. This year bounced back. This season bounced back after whatever the hell last season was, but it's missing something.
Real quick.
It's missing something.
Wasn't the Bear rooted in, hey, this is slop jalop food with a lot of yelling and screaming and the intensities of being a chef? Like that was like what it was rooted in.
And
now,
that's okay. Yeah.
Now it's no longer slop jalop like they're trying to make a fancy restaurant, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, miss me on that. You lost the plot.
But they also have a beef window.
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
And the beef window.
That definitely doesn't.
Now-
That totally still keeps
I'm
the
with you
character of the
that
show.
season 4 is better than season 3, but it's almost like after season 2, it was so popular that people demanded more, and now they're searching for storylines.
Yeah, and it probably is. It could end right now.
Didn't it?
If
Now, this isn't really a spoiler. Didn't it feel like if you were going to end it, the last episode was
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could end it right there.
Yes.
And that would be okay.
But I don't think they will.
I'm watching Con Air this week.
Hell yes. Great take.
Tonight is Dune 2. So it's July. So it's it's June, but it's going to be July. So I was telling Gary, I go, this is Matt McMovie time. This is my time of the year. We're July, nothing's going on. I don't have sports really to watch, so I just watch a bunch of movies.
This is where Josh Odson could be a great resource for you.
So Dune 2 is tonight. I finished Dune 1 last night. And then Con Air will be tomorrow. And so we're kind of just gonna, we'll probably segment out some of them, and like it'll take 2 days, maybe 3 days for some movies. But
I find it interesting that Con Air was that high on your list.
Well, because you like Con Air so much.
I love Con
and
Air.
I think
Thank
it would be really funny for me to connect with like one of the 6 movies that you quote. So Euro Trip, Dumb and Dumber, Con Air, those are probably the 3. Fletch, yeah. Have you
Tommy
seen
Boy?
Tommy Boy.
Con Air,
Vacation.
Con Air, Roadhouse and Con Air are 2 of the greatest worst movies of all time.
100%.
We never did. Can you do your reenactment of Tommy Boy? We never did it.
Oh, we never did it at the College
We
World
never
Series.
did it at the College World Series. Can you please do right now?
Did we ever pick a scene?
No, we never. Can I pick a scene for you?
Sure.
Can we do a reenactment of when he's selling the car to the guy?
Yeah, we just quote that one all the time.
Yeah. Can you go ahead and do that for?
God.
Can you go ahead and do that? All right.
I'd have to get the lines.
And scene.
I'd have to get the lines. I'm not prepared at this moment. But yeah, we could. Do
you have concepts of a scene, is what you're saying?
I remember the scene, but I got to know the lines.
They don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what the bleep.
I cannot wait to use that meme during a Chicago Bears Minnesota Vikings slugfest where it's like 12-10 and both teams have a bunch of turnovers.
Yeah. By the way, before we
I think the number one sports meme in the fall will be President T swearing last week.
That's what he said.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I go, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to use that. Oh my God. Jacksonville and Tennessee are stuck in a 7-3 game in London. They don't know what they're doing.
But you have to insert the
Yes, and on
the
radio.
bleeps.
Unfortunately, we're not on the Pat McAfee show, so I can't just spew out the mouth and say whatever the hell I want to say.
You could. You just have to understand the consequences.
Just don't bring up Zach Campbell.
Did you cuss about Zach Campbell?
Yes, that's what. Remember, come on. That was the moment.
Mm.
That was like one of the very few days Gary wasn't here. It was you and me.
Here's a great point from our boy O-Trips.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Shut the bleep up. I probably shouldn't put that on the screen. Guys,
It's the internet, you're fine.
EA Sports College Basketball is coming back. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? EA Sports did a tweet 16 minutes ago at EA Sports. This is EA Sports. Bring the madness. Let's run it back. And there's a picture of a basketball with an EA Sports logo. Can you believe it? This is shocking.
Those games were really bad, right?
Yeah, they were not good games.
It wasn't just me.
It was not playable.
But you could go to Baxter Arena
by the way,
in a video game.
Okay, first off, EA has done.
You love the Mavericks.
I do love the Mavericks. EA has done basketball though so poorly. NBA Live.
Yes.
Okay, they've been doing it for a while. Right? No, it's never beaten 2K. It's never better than 2K. If anybody ever told me, hey, Matt, you want to hop on and play basketball in my video game, I'm not thinking NBA Live made by EA Sports.
No, but I will settle for literally anything.
I don't know if they have to put a good game engine in. I just feel like it's sometimes they've had in 2019, the game engine for NBA Live was pretty good.
They did all right with college football. So
well, that's their bread
I
and
think they
butter.
have all 355 teams.
No way. There's zero way.
Why not? I used to play with Creighton at Omaha Arena. It was called Omaha Arena, I believe.
With small forward number 13.
So I would
small forward number 11.
Small forward number 13 is probably like Chad Millard or something like that. But yeah, absolutely. I would play at Omaha Arena, and sometimes I would actually. This might be blasphemous, but because it wasn't like real, I don't know. They didn't have the Quest Center on there for whatever reason. It kind of looked like the Quest Center, but they just called it Omaha Arena. So I would sometimes go play my games at the Devaney Center with the basketball on the free throw line, and that was awesome. That was awesome. I was like, whoa, that's a thing that I have been to. So just think about it. You could do it. You could play as the Mavs.
I would love to play.
Rutgers Dynasty is about to begin.
Yeah, I would love to play as Cam Thomas.
Could you imagine
on
that
a video game?
That big, beautiful Creighton logo right in smack dab in the middle of the court with their big, beautiful jerseys.
I'm just thinking about Welsh Ryan Arena. That's what I'm thinking about.
Lovely new facility.
Yeah,
kind of.
it's actually kind of, the seats are too close together. It's like my knees are literally like in my stomach sitting in that stadium. It's tough.
Text from San Antonio.
Oh, hi, San Antonio.
Maybe Matt should be watching Love Island instead of drug hauling movies.
I have no interest in Love Island. I one time in college watched The Bachelor every Monday in order to talk to women and to hang out with women because that was their thing. They're like, hey, we're going to watch a Bachelor. You want to come with us and watch? So I would watch The Bachelor to try and get girls. But that's the only extent to which I would watch one of those shows.
Okay. Could you imagine, Kenneth?
And by the way, it did work, yeah.
Could you imagine playing the Big East tournament in a video game and Hassan Diarra tries to fight Jemiah Neal after dunking?
So is the stadium pulse for like St. John's in the Big East tournament just massive? Like they have a massive home court advantage?
Yeah, it wouldn't be fair, but they would play Hypnotize before the starting lineups and it'd be awesome. And then some random Creighton people would be like, I think we should leave the Big East because they're too New York. I'm like, that's the dumbest idea
I'd be
I've
afraid,
ever
though,
heard.
if I was Nebraska to have a basketball game.
Why?
What would Hoiberg look like?
He would look like every generic coach that's ever existed on a video game.
Well, I'm pretty sure Fred...
Although they did do Rule Dirty.
Yeah.
Is Fred Hoiberg not in 2K? Like, is he not on one of those NBA 2K, like, legacy teams at all?
When did his career end? Like,
I have no
probably
clue.
04?
He's in NBA Live.
Yeah. There's so many teams that they have on 2K that, like, Fred
But you're
Hoiberg has to be.
He would be the stereotypical white college basketball coach dressed in a quarter zip and khakis.
He was playing all the way through 05.
Whoa.
He was playing all the way through 05.
Totally forgot.
Fred Hoiberg Fred Hoiberg in the second to last year of his career was voted as the he got 15th in the sixth man of the year.
What an honor.
Yeah. What is that? 15th, one vote?
I don't think I've seen that on Huskers.com.
No, it should be though. Seamus, get on it.
There's got to be.
But that must have been a great rookie class. 14 guys in front of him? Or
sixth man of the
or
year.
14 guys coming off the bench?
He got 1 point.
Yeah, one vote.
One. I don't even know if it was a vote, like a vote for fifth or something like that. He got 1 point. Unfortunately, he was 337 points behind Anton Jameson.
What a name.
Yeah.
What a name. So we're
how many teams are there in the league?
30.
30? Yeah. So
30.
he finished right in the middle.
That's right. There's only 36 men.
He was an average.
I don't know where you're going with this, but I don't think this was a good find.
No, I don't think this is a great
I just
stat.
found it on his basketball reference page. It was the only award he ever got.
So what teams was he on? Because he might be on some legacy teams in 2K. Like if he was on
Pacers, Bulls, Timberwolves.
You know what I would like to see?
What year Minnesota?
It was KG time.
Oh,
This
okay. He
would
probably
be-
is in 2K then.
Hoiberg, this is content. Hoiberg would be a great person to have rip packs. Like basketball cards.
Oh, because he has a lot of association with dudes,
Yes,
right?
Yes. Maybe there would be somebody cool in the background.
There's a lot of people he'd be like, I was teammates with.
Seriously.
He could probably open up a whole pack. He was teammates with all those people.
We could look at the 05 Timberwolves.
The 05 Timberwolves.
Wally Zerbiak.
I would not.
Sam
Wally Zerbiak.
Sam
jeez.
Cassell.
Was Leitner on that?
KG.
Was Leitner on that team? Minnesota?
Christian Leitner was not on that team.
Okay.
No. Mark Madsen was, though.
I have
Great
no
dancer.
knowledge of the 05
Michael
Minnesota
Olowokandi.
Timberwolves.
Good name.
0.
There you go. There's some guys right there. Guys naming dudes. That's what it always comes down
Corey
to.
Maggette.
That's a guy.
That's my guy.
That's a dude.
That's my go-to.
All right. Well, you enjoy your movie time today.
Him and Luis
Just
Scola.
remember, we know what's going on under that blanket.
God, I just realized because I was, the Timberwolves opened up in the Metrodome. That was their home.
Oh, yeah.
The Target Center is 35 years old.
It's a very
Wow.
old building.
Well, and it sounds like they're going to move to the burbs.
When I went to a Timberwolves game in probably probably 09 or something like that.
Mhm.
It felt old. Now they've redone some things in there.
Yeah.
They've freshened it up a little bit. There's grass on the roof.
There is.
For some
good,
reason.
Good.
That's really nice. It's very sustainable and things like that.
What is this? High school where you got the home ec
They-
class has
they
a
made the
garden on
whole-
the roof?
They
So
made the
it-
whole outside look like wood.
Yes.
That's what they did. Yeah.
So the plan is, because of the new owners of the Timberwolves, and they need a
A-Rod.
new arena, but they're not going to move the Timberwolves or the Lynx. They're probably going to go to the Burbs, and then the Twins can take over where Target Center is, and they can build Twins Village,
Target Town.
Oh, yeah.
Target Town.
Target Town.
Well, the Twins used to have a
Town.
rift with the Target Center because the Target Center put up, the dog from Target.
Yeah.
And they lit it up.
Yeah.
And so in the TV broadcast, you could see that in the background. So the Twins just built something that would take away.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're out on Target?
Well, they had a little back and forth.
Imagine being in Minnesota and not liking Target.
I guess they're not part of the
Well,
circle.
They didn't like the
Nice.
logo being put on the side that faced the stadium.
Have you ever been to the 2-level Target in downtown Minneapolis?
Yes,
you
I
have to
have.
push your carts up
Right
the
on
cart
Nicollet
escalator.
Mall.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I saw that thing and I said, honey, we need to go get a cart.
We're going. It's just
Why-
a normal Target.
why
It's
does-
just 2 levels.
Okay, I was gonna say, why does a Target need 2 levels?
But because they don't have enough space.
Yeah.
We
'Cause
saw
they
it-
built it's on Nicollet Mall.
We saw each other in Target. It was like 5:00 on Friday, and I was just walking, and I was getting some hangers, and because I hang up my hats on things, and I walk into the candy aisle, and Gary Sharp is just standing
In the
there.
candy aisle.
Hello.
That's awesome. What'd you get?
Here's
Nerds
the
clusters?
thing about Target is they've done away with the cinnamon bears because I like to dip them in alcohol. So the cinnamon bears at all Targets are gone.
They've gotten pretty tight on what candies they have.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but they still have the gummy bears, which I really like. So I was grabbing those.
Good.
Yeah.
Good
Go to the
purchase.
Target in Vegas.
What? Can I
Oh.
gamble there?
So the Target in Vegas is
3
very
levels?
slimmed down.
The Target in Vegas on the strip.
It's on the strip. It's where I want to say it's a TGI Fridays. It's
Yeah.
not very far from MGM.
Yeah.
You can pay.
I've been
you
at CVS on the strip. Watch out.
You're like, you go to the checkout. They're
Bad
like,
stuff going
Is
on.
that the
over there.
one that's on the
It's
New
on the-
York side?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the
So
Aria. Yeah.
that's the one where
Bad deal in there.
also that's where they always come with the cards. Like, they
There
hand
are
out
the cards right
business
there.
cards.
You
Yeah.
can go in there and buy 70 tall boys of whatever beer you
Hell
want.
yeah.
And just walk down
I
the
just
strip
feel
with
like
them.
every store in Vegas, I should be able to gamble my check on like a blackjack. It's like, hey, your numbers, it's going to cost $46.66, or you can play one hand of blackjack and it'll be free. Or if you lose, it doubles.
Interesting
I don't know,
idea.
just in this town, go to Casey's or Mega Saver and you can play slots.
Yeah.
Oh, there were.
You sure
I walked
can.
in the other day. There were people who were playing some slots. They were slotting it up
Always
in the
are.
Casey's.
Always are. All
It's
right.
crazy.
You guys
You
have
have
a
a
great day.
wonderful day.
Yeah. You guys too. Enjoy your movies.
Thank you.
That's the crossover powered by Every Level Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It is Monday. We'll start things off next.
That's the crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Welcome in, everyone. Happy Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show. You're on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you. Back for a full week of Up. Never mind. Not this week. Friday is the 4th of July. And we won't be here. But guess what will be here? This big Coca-Cola cooler.
That's right.
Thank you, Sindelar.
Thank you, Sindelar.
The goat.
Thank you, Sindelar.
We will get this thing hosed off and rid it of any top dressing that may be sitting on the top. But we'll put good use to this thing. We'll put good use to it. That's our new surprise in the studio. All right, today on the show, Mike Schaefer is going to join a little bit. Big weekend for Nebraska in recruiting, potentially a big week. Everybody likes doing commitments now at or around the 4th of July. They like to commit at that point in time, which I'm sure makes people who cover recruiting like Mike Schaefer very, very happy. He likes not working this week just like everybody else.
Well, who doesn't? Yeah.
But the kids are committing to places. So sometimes you got to do it. So we'll talk to Schaefer about that.
Let's get those recruits in. Let's get those commitments in by close of business today.
I would love to, can we get them all in before June 30th? And then this is it's funny. July 1st is the start of the fiscal year. It's the start of the academic calendar if you're into college sports. I guess more of fiscal year now if you're looking at college sports as well. And this is also the weekend everybody is just gone. Nobody works this week, right? This is how America is. Not only sports are dead, but nothing is really going on this week in general. Is that a fair assessment on things?
Yeah, I just did what to watch tonight during the crossover.
Okay.
And
we got nothing.
Pretty bleak.
Not much going on there.
But I found some things. I found some gems.
You can watch some baseball if you're interested. Also today on the show, no Sam today. He's on vacation. Topical. But in his place, we will have Mr. Hot Dog Man himself, the commissioner of Major League Eating, George Shea.
The commish
will be back for his third stop in on the Connor Happer Show. And yes, you wake up on 4th of July. You're maybe a little bit groggy from the previous night. There's been fireworks going off in your neighborhood and things like that. And you wake up, and you're like, I'm getting a late start today. And you flip on ESPN at about 11 o'clock in the morning, and you'll see George Shea yelling absurd words into a microphone and onto your television screen. And there will be more absurd this year because Joey Chestnut is back. He is back. The 16-time Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest champion, back after the impossible dispute of last year. And we'll get George Shea's thoughts. The MC of all MCs joins us today at 1 o'clock. That is the lineup powered by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Want to hear from you all today? 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline, where once again, you can head to 1620thezone.com. We're giving away $100 to the Sky Bar and Grill It. Prairie Flower
Casino.
Yeah. Every week. We're doing that every single week.
Every week.
You can tweet at Happer Show at Connor Happer on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Josh O at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. And we say good morning to the YouTube streamers today. There was a brief moment where O-Trips was here. He is announced that he has departed.
Dropped a bomb and left.
Yep. He's like, the video game's coming back. And then he left. Reading some, we'll get to this here in a second, but so it sounds like this will be a 2028 situation, which, Josh, that's not that far away.
It sounds incredibly far away.
But it's not. We used to think 2028 was several years away, but now it's only a couple. So I'm sure nobody will just forget about this for the next couple of years, and then they'll have an NCAA or they'll have a college basketball video game plopped on their lap maybe before the 2028-2029 season. The Blue Jays will be led by Alan Huss at that point in time.
Yeah.
Do you think Greg McDermott is sad because he never gets to be depicted on a video game as the coach of the Creighton Blue Jays?
I'll bet that's why he's retiring.
Maybe maybe he'll extend his career. Maybe he'll go 5 years now.
I want to get in that video game.
I got to get in the video game. Knowing back, absolutely. He will definitely, 100%. He'll extend that at this point. Elsewhere today on the show, a quote that shouldn't scare you regarding Nebraska football. I know people like to get scared about things.
Scared?
The Big 12 says that preseason media polls are canceled. If you gamble or if you're involved in gambling and you're a professional athlete, they're probably going to catch you. The new Pac-12 is taking shape. LeBron? Are we going to talk about LeBron James on this show?
Is he the GOAT?
That is not the topic that I will introduce to you all
Okay.
today. It's not the topic of is he the GOAT or not. The video game. And of course, we got to get that Caitlin Clark thing.
Oh, today's the day.
We got to get, if there was ever a time where we could actually get to that Caitlin Clark thing, it's today. Maybe.
A lot of room.
We'll see if we have time. Thank you for joining us today on the show. We'll be back and fire things up after this on 1620 The Zone.
Upon further review, the host's last statement was deemed to be somewhat comical. Somewhat. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
There's 1 week until the college football video game for 2026 comes out. Josh, I can feel your excitement.
1 week.
Yeah, can you believe it?
And then it's here.
And then 3 years until the college basketball video game comes out.
I'm going to get in line at Best Buy now.
I would, especially considering it's very useful to go to places and physically get a video game.
Yeah, I
these
want to
days.
beat the rush. Well, it takes like 90 minutes to download. I don't have 90 minutes. I want to play it now.
Well, yeah. What would they even do if you went to a video store? Can you buy video games at stores anymore?
I know you can at Target.
What do they do? Do they give you a disc or do they give you a code?
You have to. Well, you can do both.
They give, you go buy a code, and then
if you want the case and the disc, you got to go find an employee. Say, I would like you to unlock this case, and then I would like this video game.
At what point? At what point during the buying of a video game, the physical buying of a video game process, do you think to yourself, wait a minute, if I'm going to Target and buying a video game and I literally went to the store and they gave me a code to type in on my Xbox, at what point do you think maybe I could have done this on my Xbox?
Yeah, right.
And then you have a real come to Jesus moment with yourself. You look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, oh no. I'm too old for this, actually. I shouldn't be doing this anymore.
I think that's more of like a gift. Like, okay, I'm getting this child the gift of a video game. Here, child.
Oh.
That's the way I see it going.
Why don't
down
you just
in
give
my
them
head.
a $60 Xbox card or something like that?
Ooh, then they could get whatever they wanted.
Well, not really. You have to have like $80 to buy video games now.
Whoa.
I got that.
Disgusting.
So hear me out, Josh.
Okay.
All right. Hear me out. I pre-ordered the stupid video game for next week, which means I get it like 1 day early.
Hell yeah.
I'll be able to play the game. It's already downloaded maybe, and I just get to play it 1 day early. But in order to get that, and then I got some cool VC or whatever the hell DLC. I don't know what I got with it, but whatever. I paid. It was like I think it was $85 or something like that. Now that's the pre-order, like day early. I didn't get the super duper dumbed down, but I think that like the cheapest you could possibly get the new video game for is like $65.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Video games used to be. Video games are just like hats. Poll question: are video games just like hats?
Yeah.
Video games, they used to be like $30, and then I'm like, okay, they're $40, and then they were $50, and they were $60. And I guess now they're $70 or $65. I have no idea.
Hats are expensive.
Hats used to be $20, and then they were $30, and then they were $40 for a while, and then they were like $42.99. We're talking about like MLB like fitted hats. They're like $42.99. I think they're now $40. They just pulled the cord on us. They went all the way up to $45. You tried to buy a fitted hat? Josh could tell us fitted hats given to him now, probably.
Most of them
working at the Omaha Baseball Village. But when you go to Kansas City in July and watch your beloved Atlanta Braves, maybe your child will want Kansas City Royals hat because he'll want to spite his father.
It could happen.
It might happen. And I think the Royals are in a perfect position for your son and, to potentially get a fan for life here in this situation. But he'll say, Dad, I want this beautiful blue Kansas City Royals hat fitted. Will you buy this for me? And you'll say, of course. And it'll cost you $45.99 or something like that.
My beef with hats is that they incrementally raised the price in a way that I didn't notice until it was, what do you mean it's $45 for a hat?
I know. Bigelow just said they're $50.
Sure.
So the team hats at the College World Series were $50, and that made me about throw up in my mouth.
I understand the reaction.
One of those situations. Yep. Video games are like hats. Poll question up at Happer Show right now. But off we go into the month of no sports, everyone. Although people will tell you, not me, but you will get this sort of reaction when you say stuff like this from the football sickos. well, there's nothing going on this month. And there is nothing going on this month. The MLB All-Star Game will be in a couple weeks. That'll be fun for everybody.
Be great.
They'll wear regular jerseys. I'll be very excited about it. That'll be cool. That's basically it. But then the football sickos will tell you that the Hall of Fame game. Did you know this, Josh? The Hall of Fame game.
You and Peterson were talking about this last week.
It's in July. It's in July. It's the last day of July. That's when the first football game is this year. It's in July.
I don't care for that.
You say push it one day, please. Move it to August.
Mm-hmm.
Give me my July back.
My God, there it is.
Yeah, check it out.
Chargers, Lions.
Go Chargers, go. There's a beauty in the sports calendar. We have about 8 weekends now until the nonstop football and basketball train rolls through March, and we'll be subscribing to our PFFs and our Ken Palms, and it'll be ugly. People will be yelling at each other. There will be no escape from it.
I bought my pick 6 last week.
People will be talking about whether the NCAA tournament is going to get expanded to 190 teams. And Seth Davis will tell you that it's awesome. And everybody else will say, what are you talking about, Seth Davis? That'll be constant all the way through March. And then there's some baseball and then the College World Series. And then that leads us back to this point. So my advice for everybody as we head into this month is, first of all, learn how to deal with the heat. This is what you get. It's going to be hot. It's going to be
good take.
It's going to be ugly out there for a little while, but learn how to deal with it. Go play some golf, spend some time with your family, splash around in the pool.
I did that yesterday.
I had this last night, and I had this sort of realization. I was sitting, I sat out on my deck and did work. Sat out on my deck and had my computer, and it immediately fogged up, and I thought it was going to break because of the condensation.
Yeah.
But I sat on my deck. I thought, why I'm doing this is because I don't have anything to watch on TV. There's no NBA Finals game. There's nothing I need to catch up on. It's really me, myself, and my own mind to get prepared for a show throughout this month. So enjoy it. There's a beauty to the sports calendar. There's a beauty in the cycle. We don't have to count down incessantly the way we always do. We don't have to say it's 100, it's 80, it's 40 days, whatever it is, until college football. Why don't you just enjoy these next 60 days or whatever it might be without college football? And then on your way down to Kansas City, we could warn the Platte City QT about what's coming, because it's coming.
59 days.
I realize that I haven't played golf since last July.
Oh, no.
I find that unacceptable. Sports are in my way of sports at this point. Am I canceled? Maybe. It just might be. So enjoy what's coming.
This is the exhale.
Enjoy what's coming, which is nothing.
Yeah.
Aggressively nothing.
Take a minute and enjoy it.
Mike Schaefer will join us at the bottom of the hour. There is plenty to come on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. The Connor Happer Show is here on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. We were just, credit where credit is due. As it flipped over to 11 o'clock and we were watching the Chit Chat shows, all of the First Take show had all fill-ins. I didn't know who any of those people were that were doing that show. But I could tell you for sure it wasn't Stephen A. Smith and it wasn't Mad Dog.
That's right.
Or whoever is the co-host of that show. Now, is there a co-host of that show? Because usually when I'm watching, it's Wednesday and Mad Dog is on there.
Mad Dog's the only co-host I notice.
Okay, right. So I don't know what was going on beforehand, but, Stephen A. is the focal point of the show. I didn't know what the heck was going on whatever I just saw. But credit where credit is due. Pat McAfee, not on vacation. He might be the only sports media person that is not on vacation.
Sure seems like it.
So shout out to Pat.
We're working hard.
Yeah, but we just do a daily local talk show. That's all. We could chit chat about whatever at any point.
It's the lifeblood of sports talk.
Because we don't even talk about sports a lot of the times,
right?
Especially in the summer. Today we're talking. Well, we're going to talk about hot dogs today. It's a sport, though.
Yeah, it's a sport.
Oh, you
believe it or not.
Maybe that's the way we should tee up our boy George Shea today. Hey, would you say that Major League Eating is a sport? And then he'd get angry at me.
Of course I would, you moron.
Probably curse me out and then leave. I wonder how the weather is going to be at Coney Island on Friday. Probably sweltering. Just dudes eating hot dogs, dipping them in water and shoving them down their gullets in 100-degree heat. Oh, yeah.
That's America, baby.
Full preview coming up at 1 o'clock. Okay. Couple different things here. Number one, there's no rhyme or reason to why this is at the top of the show, but I did want to talk about it, and this is an open segment that we have.
The Caitlin Clark thing.
We'll see.
Okay.
But did you hear that they're adding 3 new teams to the WNBA?
I have seen this. I have heard about this.
Some might say that is because of Caitlin Clark.
Boy,
even though
seems like
Caitlin Clark only plays for one of the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a side take on that, by the way. If you're going to add, so they're adding a team in Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to start stagger in like 28, 29, and 30. That's when those teams will start playing. Whatever they name them, they'll name them. Caitlin Clark will still very much be in the league, unless she's started her own league.
Which is apparently an option.
Which is, people are saying this, I guess. Once again, this is not that Caitlin Clark thing. But people, they're adding those 3 cities, Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia. Why not put them in, like, I don't know. Kansas City feels like a really good place for a WNBA team.
They support the current.
Exactly. They support women's sports. They've supported it well. They built them a whole new soccer stadium out there on the river. It is supported by the city, and the crowds are really good, and it's good soccer and all those things. Like, it's the flagship for that league. Like, why not? I don't know. Why do we have to go to Detroit, Cleveland, and Philadelphia? What? They already have 400 teams that they're having to deal with. And I suppose, we
understand
I guess I get
NBA ownership thing.
And I also get that you go where, the population centers are and stuff like that. Like, chances are, if there's more people in the city, then there's more people that are going to support your WNBA team. But why not, take a chance? Go to Kansas City, where you might have a really strong, that's what they did in Oklahoma City in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Oklahoma City, and it's different, and it's very much like a college environment and stuff like that. That team gets supported incredibly well. You could do that in Kansas City in the WNBA. You could do that in Omaha in the WNBA.
We love women's sports here in the state of Nebraska.
We have the Supernovas and many others.
That's right.
So many leagues, so many teams.
So many leagues.
All right, there's your side WNBA.
That was the WNBA thing. That wasn't the Caitlin Clark thing.
Correct. But did you see that Caitlin Clark was on the side of the JW Marriott?
Ooh.
The only structure of note in Indianapolis.
I saw.
She's on there. All right. Not the Caitlin Clark thing. The Big 12, Josh. Oh, by the way, speaking of sports media, Brett McMurphy, friend of the show.
That's right.
He is an On3 man now.
An On3 man.
He's going to tweet for On3.
He's going to tweet funny graphics that say things like would.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe. Or maybe they'll just add funny context to Brett McMurphy's reporting. But I know he has written, and he used to write for ESPN. I know his stories go up somewhere. I think it's the Action Network.
That's correct.
At the moment. I've clicked on those from time to time, but usually when I'm referencing a Brett McMurphy report, it's a tweet.
That's right.
So Brett McMurphy is now going to tweet for On3. On3 is collecting the sports media tweeters' infinity stones. And they're almost done. They're almost inevitable at this point. So Brett McMurphy said something over the weekend that the Big 12 has decided to do away with their league's preseason media poll. He says the Big 12 will continue its preseason all-league teams. Last year, and he notes this, last year Big 12 champion Arizona State was selected 16th in the preseason poll, which I believe that is the maximum amount. I think that's the amount of teams that are in the Big 12.
Okay.
I think. Arizona State, who made the playoff, was 16th in the preseason poll. And he says the Big 12 joins the Big 10 as the only conference without a league preseason poll. And he also notes that their media days are July 8th and 9th in Frisco, Texas. Josh?
Yes.
Soft.
Whoa.
What is up with these soft-ass conferences? I know they're not important. And the people will tell you over and over and over again, we don't care about the preseason polls. They don't really mean anything to us. But I can't tell you how many times at the end of the year I hear coaches talk about where they were picked in the league, and then they end up in the playoff or in the tournament and the regional or something like that. And the coaches say at the end, yeah, we're here in the College World Series. Yeah, we're here in the College Football Playoff. Yeah, we're here in the second round of the NCAA tournament, and they picked us 12th in our league. That was out of 12 teams. Did you hear about this? And they'll say it over and over and over again. And we are supposed to believe that they don't use it as motivation and that they don't think about where the preseason polls end up at the beginning of the year. Of course they do. So what good did they do? What did they mean? Nothing. But it's good to know. It's good to know. I want to know what other people I wish the Big Ten did something like this, and they have the Cleveland plain dealer thing that they do every year on the start of Big Ten media days. And then they get to go ask coaches, "Hey, you were just picked 8th in an 18-team league," and the coach will say, "Well, I think 8th out of 18 is pretty good, if I'm not mistaken. I think we've got a chance to make the College World Playoff." Or you tell the coach, "Hey, coach, you were picked 16th out of 18," and then they'll say, "Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything to us. You know, whatever they think is fine. They could say whatever they want. I didn't even know that. You're just actually telling me that news right now. Of course you knew it, you liar. You're such a liar." They talk about this and think about this constantly, all the time. So why are we doing away with it? It's not a big deal, but I'm kind of mad about it. That's my take.
When week 0 rolls around and Farmageddon takes place in Dublin, Ireland for some reason, how am I supposed to know what to think of those two teams?
Exactly. We're just supposed to lean back on the past and say, well, K-State, Iowa State, they've both been pretty good.
When Kansas plays its second game of the year on Friday, August 29th, that's right, look it up, when they host Wagner, what am I supposed to think of the Jayhawks?
Great question. They'll probably, you're talking about in basketball, they'll probably be picked first, right?
Yeah.
Because they're Kansas. Or somebody will be like this year, you know what, I think this is, and they were very good last year.
I can do that in basketball. I just know, okay, Kansas, number 1.
It's going to be Kansas every single time.
Football, I have no idea what to think. Are the Jayhawks back? Did they ever leave?
Travis writes in.
Hi, Travis.
Says the Big 12 was so embarrassed by their preseason poll, they just shut it down. Seriously.
Yeah.
Did you really screw it up that bad to where you feel like you have to cancel the entire thing? That is idiotic. That's stupid. Bring it back. I've worked myself into a tizzy about this, actually. So that's what the Big 12 is up to. Maybe this is the future of college sports. We're not hurting anybody's feelings anymore. There's no polls on anything. You know, when the Big Ten, they send out the Big Ten baseball poll at the beginning of the year. But it's not a poll at all. It's just somebody who has decided who the top 5 teams in the league are. They're like, here's 5 teams to watch. And they don't even order them. And then when they go to do like a preseason all conference team, they're like, no, I don't think we'll do that either. We'll do something. We'll put 5 guys or something like that. I don't know, maybe 7, maybe 3 on a honor roll. And we'll just say, watch out for those guys this year. That's stupid. Tell me who's good. Tell me who's not good. Tell me specifically who the coaches or the media within the individual leagues think is going to be good. And that way we know who to fire at the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's why they're not doing this. If you're picked to finish first in the conference and you finish last, you're fired. I'm sorry. That's how it should work. But no, now we can't have expectations on things. Text me. That's all they're saying.
Can we at 1620 The Zone do a Big 12?
Would you like to
preseason
do
poll?
the Big 12 preseason poll? Remember,
There's a vacuum in the market, and I'd like to take it.
I think it was last year. Didn't we do like our 1620 poll and we all basically voted the same thing?
That's right. We did. I could probably maybe even find that.
I feel like we need a bigger sample size, probably like maybe,
Invite someone else.
get 50 more people in on it or something.
50.
Yeah. I want a big sample size.
Okay.
Why don't we do our local?
I do have the media poll from last year.
Okay. Now this would hold that real quick.
Okay.
This would take some coordination, Josh. But what if we sent out a email to all of the local media, everyone who covers Nebraska football, the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people?
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I don't know if you know that.
There's thousands. They could fill up an entire stadium of people who cover Nebraska football. And we just ask everyone anonymously. They could send in their results and we record them and then publicize what the results of the poll are, but we don't make public who voted what and where, or maybe we do, but I have a feeling that people wouldn't want to be involved as much if they had to name themselves and
Sure.
have their takes out there, but we could sort through that. They tell us, each of them tell us what Nebraska's record is, who they beat, who they lose to, where they finish in the league, what bowl game they end up in, and then we publish the results. You know what? On second thought, I do think we should put everybody's name next to this. It's like the AP poll tracker. I love the AP poll tracker.
Yes.
I love looking at all the disparities in the AP. Remember that one time there was the guy who voted for Arizona, but he meant Arizona State? That was awesome.
That's right.
I want to do that.
What a scandal.
We should do that. Now we would just have to send out a bunch of emails. Okay. What were the results of our I'll pull up how the Big Ten actually finished last year.
Okay.
And you tell me this was us at the beginning of the season.
That is correct.
And it was just the 5. So it was Gary and then Nick.
There were 7 votes.
So it was Gary, Nick, me, John, Josh, and then you and other Nick, I assume?
Yes, that sounds right.
Okay. All right. Tell me.
5 people voted Ohio State number 1.
I was one of those people. Ohio State did not win the conference, but they did win the national championship. People forget.
2 people voted Oregon to finish first.
Oregon was indeed the winner of the conference. Undefeated.
Now, not to skip ahead, but we did have Indiana in 17th place.
Hell yes. I think I picked them almost dead last. I might have picked them dead last.
You did not believe in them famously.
Or maybe it was Northwestern that I picked dead last. It was one of those two.
Mm-hmm.
No, I did not believe in them. They went 8-1 in the league.
They did.
They got tied for second.
We had Nebraska in 6th.
All right. Nebraska finished 3-6 in the conference last year. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They were tied for 12th. So we missed on that one.
Swing and a miss.
Yep.
Penn State, Michigan, and Iowa rounded out our top 5.
Okay, so the real top 5 was Oregon, and then Indiana and Penn State went 8-1. Ohio State went 7-2, and Illinois and Iowa went 6-3. Those were your top 6.
Ooh, we had Illinois finishing 14th in the league.
Hell yeah! See? And that's probably, Bert probably at the end of the year was like, those damn 16-20 idiots picked us last.
This graphic was probably on the bulletin board in Champaign.
I bet it was. Just like we had all that bulletin board material for Colorado that year.
That's right. We'd lost Nebraska that game.
John emails in the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, John.
Thousands of people voting in a 16-20 the zone poll. That seems like an awful lot of work for producer Josh. Ultimately, yes, it would probably fall exclusively on the shoulders of producer _Josh.
It almost always does.
It almost always does.
Radio Daddy will take care of it. Don't worry.
You can do emails. You do emails with the best of them, Josh.
I emailed George Shea and said, would you like to come on? And he said, I'd love to, friend.
And you have another new friend because of it.
Mm-hmm.
You did the same thing with Frank Caliendo, and now you have a lifelong friendship.
That's right. You know what? A lot of good can come from emails.
Exactly. I've been saying this for a long time. So bring it back. These soft-ass people from the Big 12. This is stupid.
You've turned me. I'm with you.
Elsewhere, Josh.
Yes.
I'd like to get to this before we talk to Mike Schaefer. Mike Schaefer is an enjoyer of minor league baseball. A couple weeks ago, we brought you this story about how John Oliver and his late night television show, John Oliver Tonight or something like that.
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Totally. He is taking over the branding for a minor league baseball team. That team was identified later as the Erie Seawolves, which are not near the sea.
Oh, famously, yeah.
Famously. And the identity of this team has now been revealed. So John Oliver and his staff worked tirelessly, and they put together a new marketing plan and identity change for the Erie Seawolves for one night.
Oh, it's for one night.
I thought that they were going to do this permanently.
That's what they made it sound like. And then because we had this debate, you said you wouldn't do it because you're like, what if they made you the
poop sniffers,
the dong catchers or something?
Exactly. No, I kind of thought that it was going to be permanent.
Yeah.
But from what I'm reading here, maybe this website just got it wrong, but it's just one night.
Sad.
So on the show, on the John Oliver show tonight, last time,
good
week,
he nailed it.
He revealed the results of his month-long campaign to rebrand one minor league baseball team. For one night only, July 19th, the Erie Seawolves will transform into the Erie Moon Mammoths with a complete new logo, mascot, and what promises to be one heck of a theme night. If you're watching along with us on YouTube, I will flash up what that looks like now. That is a purple mammoth with a space helmet on. Think like Sandy from SpongeBob.
Yes.
And they are purple. What do we think of the Erie Moon Mammoths?
I like it. And apparently there's a story behind this name.
Okay. Do we know the story?
Or
were we going to get to the story? Okay. Here we go.
I can get to the story.
In typical Oliver fashion, the rebrand announcement was less about sports and more about Erie's quirks. The segment opened with real emails from locals pitching names like the Erie Snowplows, the Erie Frozen Balls, and even something involving Revolutionary War hero General Mad Anthony Wayne's boiled remains. Wow. As Oliver reminded viewers, Erie once literally boiled a general's body in a kettle that's now on display at a local museum. What is going on in Erie? But ultimately passed on that theme in favor of something even weirder, a prehistoric skeleton fished out of Lake Pleasant by a recreational diver named George Moon.
That's right.
In 1991, the diver's name, combined with Pennsylvania's connection to lunar astronauts, sealed the deal. The mascot's name will be Fuzz E. Mammoth.
I like it.
Described by Oliver as a pileus purple pachyderm and a moonwalking mastodon. And they even did a hype video as well.
The hat is pretty dope.
They'll be playing on July 19th against the Chesapeake Bay Sox, who will also be rebranded that night as the Oyster Catchers. Remember that whole bit a couple weeks ago and how it looked the logo looked a little bit
Oh yeah,
questionable?
suggestive. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That's get your purple mammoth hats. I also saw that Max Anderson was on there. Former Husker Max Anderson. They like interviewed him.
He's a moon mammoth.
He is a moon mammoth.
Oh, I read a tweet from someone. I forget who. I apologize. Friend of the show. I forget who. Said Nebraska and Creighton baseball were mentioned.
Yeah, I think it was
in the
Padilla.
piece. Yeah, that's right.
Well, Jake Holton's on there too. Honk honk. Thank you for mentioning that, Josh. But I think they talked to Max Anderson, and they were like, "What do you think?" I don't know how any of this went. I didn't watch the John Oliver show last night, obviously, because I don't know what its name is. John emails in.
Hi, John.
Erie is not near the sea and famously not near the moon either. Good question.
We explained the moon connection.
Yes. I think you're at this point probably more angry with the town. Chris writes in on the text line.
Hi, Chris.
Poll question: do you know what's going on in Erie, Pennsylvania?
Okay.
I now know a little bit more.
Yeah.
Apparently, they boiled some guy.
Do you have a year on that? On that boiling?
Let me check. Let me check on the.
Not that it's ever okay, but
like what year would be surprising to you?
Anything after 1900. Great follow-up question by you, by the way.
Yeah. So okay, hang on. Who did they boil here? General Mad Anthony Wayne's boiled remains. All right, so I'm just going to throw that into a Google search and see what happens. He was buried at Fort Presque Isle. His son Isaac Wayne disinterred the body in 1809.
Okay.
And boiled the corpse to remove any flesh from the bones.
Moderately.
That's okay. In the 1800s, it was okay.
Early 1800s.
Like if it was like 1967, you would have been like, whoa.
I need an HBO doc on what happened that day.
What is going on? Chris also writes in on the text line, poll question, how soon is too soon to boil someone?
What do we think about that one?
I don't know.
I don't know what the options are for the answer.
Yeah, yes or no. I don't know. It is 18 whatever it was too late.
The boiling cauldron is displayed at the Erie County History Center with cartoon-like bones floating in it.
Whoa. And that's how they got their name, I guess.
Okay.
Kind of odd. All right. Mike Schaefer is our next guest on the show. He loves minor league baseball.
Does he love boiling people?
We'll find out. He also loves Cruton and covering Cruton. And there's kind of a lot going on there right now. So we'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone.
Come the Guardians.
Yeah, I have statistics to back up that we have people that listen.
Mike Schaefer.
Anytime there's sort of a debate as to who can do something, Happer would always put his name forth. For sure.
Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I could be a star.
All right, joined now by Mike Schaefer of Husker 247 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. Schaefer, good morning. What's going on?
Not a ton yet, but we are anticipating it's a busy week ahead for Nebraska football recruiting, and should be busy here today.
Ooh.
We'll see. We'll see what all pops.
You famously love when all the recruits commit the 4th of July, right? Would you prefer that they all just push to Friday and all announced on that day?
I would not prefer that, as I will be in a low cell reception area in western Nebraska. Not really western per se. Central western, I don't know if that's a thing. Somewhere by North Platte.
Central Western.
You know, I would prefer if they got this out of the way before or after. That would be my preference. But as always, you know, they dictate the terms, and we all just sort of work around it. There is one decision set for July 4th that is Darian Jones.
Yes.
He'll be deciding between Iowa, Nebraska, and a handful of other teams. It's really Iowa and Nebraska. I don't love Nebraska's chances there at the moment, but we will see on that one. I will be prepared either way.
Okay, so why are you going to North Platte? What's going on?
A buddy of mine has a cabin out on Jeffrey Reservoir, which is out near Brady, Nebraska, in Gothenburg, and like 30-some minutes from North Platte. So it's easier to just say North Platte because most people don't know the other places because they just live out here in eastern Nebraska. But it's a beautiful lake. There's a cabin. There's a boat. Like I said, low cell reception. So last year was desperately trying to get all the information I could on Nebraska and John Butler before that had gone public, including a conversation while on a boat as my reception was dying, and just like very getting the key idea that I needed from a source right as the reception went out.
Oh man.
And then, didn't hear back from that person until later, but hopefully nothing is dramatic this time.
That was a great time. I left. We drove out to, we were going to a wedding in Breckenridge that weekend, and I arrived at the place that I was staying at, and immediately when it was like 5 o'clock, and it was like, Evan Cooper is fired or whatever. Yeah. That was a great weekend. And then I decided, cool, I'm just going to put my phone down, but you don't have that luxury.
I mean, I do, in the sense that Brunson and BC will know that I won't be available as much on the 4th and the 5th. But it's hard because everybody wants to do stuff. I think this is a week where BC's up in Minnesota fishing. It's like the time where everybody wants to go have vacation and enjoy the summer. And unfortunately, that is also the time in which recruits want to commit. And so you just have to acknowledge it, accept it, be as prepared as possible, and also enjoy it too, because this is the fun part of the covering of recruiting. It should be a fun week for Nebraska. I think fans will be happy.
Okay, I want to get to that in a second, but I did want to ask your opinion on what was the first thing that hit your mind. Maybe you haven't heard this yet. There will be a new college basketball video game in a few years. You are a lover of college basketball. Did you need this? What is your reaction to this?
I'm always excited when there are new college athletic video games. My immediate reaction was I really hope that 2K does one too, because College Hoops 2K8 was a pretty phenomenal video game.
Yep.
Had one of the more in-depth dynasties that you could do. Featured this thing where you've got to choose between like 8 horrible programs to start your coaching career, and then had to like work your way up. It was a carousel before college football had ever figured out how to do it in the video game world. They had recruiting. Like, this is important in basketball too. You would be recruiting years out on athletes that were still in high. Like, they were pretty in depth with that whole game. And so I was a big fan of College Hoops 2K8. I thought the March Madness franchise wasn't as good at the end, but I would be excited about that coming back. I'm excited about college football here. Later this week?
Next week,
Sunday,
yeah,
something like that. So yeah, I mean it's that's good. If college baseball wants to return and we can have virtual Connor Happer, doing voiceovers on the sidelines, that'd be great.
Great idea. They would definitely invite the Westwood One broadcast crew to be the voices of that game. That would be awesome.
They should. I mean, you guys know more about college baseball than whoever they'd probably have. So it makes sense to me. So bring that back too.
Schaefer, okay, so let's start here on recruiting. I have a great deal of excitement, as you can imagine, when there is a player who has a big decision today, and his name is Claude Mpuma. I am very excited that his name is Claude Mpuma. What are you more excited about, the fact that his name is Claude Mpuma or that he could commit to Nebraska?
I'm probably most excited about that if he does commit to Nebraska. This is a guy who hails originally from Cameroon that has not played a lot of football in his life, but is a very good athlete, soccer player, basketball player that is just now getting to football and strikes me as the sort of guy that Nebraska hasn't landed a lot in the last decade, that you think has immense upside, but it takes a little bit to sort of get there. I mean, he would be a true left tackle, and Nebraska hasn't landed a lot of those. I mean, really.
Oh.
So that is pretty exciting, and it's someone that I think they had to do a lot of work to even be in this situation, and Matt Rule deserves a ton of credit. He's a good recruiting head coach, not a thing that Nebraska's had a lot of. And I know this from the conversations I've had. I mean, he's been very involved in this recruitment. And I think his involvement helped put Nebraska kind of over Florida and Auburn. And both of those schools really wanted Claude Mpuma. And I don't think they're going to be happy by the end of the evening. So, a great job by Nebraska and their recruiting efforts to really kind of keep fighting for a guy they liked a lot. They know that they wanted to get a tackle in this class for sure, like a true tackle. And obviously Jackson Cantwell was the original target. That wasn't going to go their way. Kelvin Ovitz, another one that they like a lot, probably not going to go their way. Claude Mpuma, the guy that I think checks a lot of boxes for him and is right there in Illinois, which is quickly becoming a fascinating state when you include Trey Taylor as well.
You just mentioned, Rule and his recruiting acumen. What makes him good at this? Because I notice the same as you. Like, you don't have a lot of head coaches who really duck their head ins and get into the nitty gritty in recruiting, but he picks and chooses some spots here. And this is one where it feels like he has. What separates him from the recruiting standpoint compared to some of his peers around college football?
I think it starts with the fact that he's a really good recruiter in communication sense. Like he makes people feel wanted. He makes people understand his excitement for Nebraska football. He makes people want to be a part of what Nebraska is building. And that's why he's such an effective on-the-phone recruiter. I mean, Jeremiah Jones was going to Missouri last signing day until Garrett McGuire was able to get him on the phone, handed the phone off to Matt Rule, and then Matt Rule went to work. And McGuire told me all of that. And he's down at Texas Tech, but he was just marveling at the fact that just listening to Matt Rule to be able to do that on signing day when this kid's all set to go sign with Missouri and the NIL is comparable and everything else. And he's worried about Nebraska and Matt Rule is able to calm him down. Matt Rule makes the phone call with Claude Mpuma, and I think they jumped to the front of the line there. Matt Rule got on the phone with Danny Odom during that whole process and was able to hold off Ohio State. I think they're able to get Devin Jackson later this week. Matt Rule is going to be a big part of that too, because he was able to get Danny Odom, and that's going to help with his teammate Devin Jackson. So I just think he's really good at communicating, making people feel like they are valued, making them feel like this is something that's more than just a football program or a university, that it's an actual living, breathing thing that they want to be a part of. I just think he has that. And we've heard him talk before. You've heard him give speeches before. I mean, I think he's just such an effective communicator, and that's not what you would have called Scott Frost or Bo Bellini or Mike Riley. I think all of them can communicate in their own different way, but not from the recruiting standpoint where it's like, this is someone that you really like and you like hearing from, and he makes you feel good about what he's talking. I mean, he slips into being a salesman without even you probably realizing it. That would be my guess.
How has the recruiting temperature changed over the last month? I think they've gotten 6 out of their 9 commitments in the last month since June started, and they're probably due for a few more this week. How has the last month or so changed your outlook on A, what this class is going to look like, and B, I guess the temperature overall?
I think, I don't want to make too much of it because obviously they're the same group that had 3 commitments coming into the month. So you don't want to just espouse how great everything's going when they're at 9 commitments and it's the end of June, but it's not going to be a big class. I think they've done a good job targeting what they wanted. We were able to bring in largely who they wanted in the month of June. There were some misfires in there, but there's also an opportunity to finish with some really intriguing players that they're excited about for this future class. And so I think it's gone well. I would say that they've certainly trended hotter than where they were when they were ice cold coming into the month of June. But, it's not a perfect class. But if we look up and you're able to add a Devin Jackson and a Claude Mpuma, and Larry Miles is set to announce on July 1st. I mean, you keep adding to this and you're at 11, 12 guys, and we think they're going to take a total of 13, 14. I mean, then it just kind of shows you that they've largely accomplished what they set out to do. And to me, the biggest thing was they had to prove that they could close. And they did that with Danny Odom. They did that with Jamal Rule. They did that with Nallin Scott. I mean, we'll see how they do with these guys this week, but I think it's going to be a good week for them. I think people are going to be happy with some of the names joining this class. And overall, it's not going to be the most star-studded thing, but I think there's going to be a lot of contributors that come out of it.
As you mentioned before, what if this week, goes on, Nebraska gets good news, and then it ends on the 4th of July with an in-state guy committing to Iowa? Does that sour it at all?
It certainly isn't great, and I think Donovan Jones, Darian Jones, I think Donovan Jones is going to be very good too, and I think Darian Jones is going to be a really talented guy, and I think if he ends up at Iowa, that's going to hurt for a variety of reasons, because not only did you not get him, then you got to face him every year, and not only did you not get him, he went to, one of your big rivals and everything else, but that's just sort of how it goes. I think if you're able to get a Danny Odom like they did last week, it softens the blow of not getting somebody like a Darian Jones. So some of it is Nebraska just has to look at what they've been able to do with their defensive backs and how that's gone. And, if it didn't work for Jones this time, who's to say that there isn't a chance later on in the portal or whatever else, So it's just, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to win every battle. But I think if you do the best that they possibly can in terms of filling out that defensive back room, it won't hurt as bad as maybe other misses will.
After this week, Schaefer, are they kind of done? Or I mean, you always save room for a couple, but I mean,
I think after this kind of run, and there's some guys like Leon Noyle Jr. doesn't have he was going to decide on July 7th. I've heard that's moved up, so that could happen sometime this week. Calvin Thomas, I think that's the name. Calvin Thomas, linebacker from Texas. That could be another name that happens this week. I mean, once we get beyond some of these names, there's really then just sort of what happens with the big defensive linemen from Sweden. What happens with other defensive linemen that are committed elsewhere, some of the other commits that are elsewhere. Then it's just kind of, flip season. And I think once we get past this sort of first week of July, they're going to be pretty locked in with guys. Then it's just going to move into what do things look like mid-September. Has Nebraska started off hot? Are they 3-0 and taking on Michigan and having a big visit weekend? And you got guys coming to town that maybe haven't been here yet because they committed already and their schools aren't doing great. Nebraska still has its NIL money that it can offer because they haven't overpromised and they're not going to underdeliver. So I think that, it's going to quiet down in a hurry for 26. I think 27 is going to explode. And then we're going to see who they're going to really target in terms of flip candidates as we get into the season.
All right, Schaefer. Well, get ahead of it this week as much as you can, and enjoy your week and your upcoming weekend in the western central Nebraska area.
Yeah, I feel really bad because I clicked on a total garbage celebrity story the other day, and I meant to take a picture of it and send it to you. And now I can't even remember what it was.
You will.
So
you will.
Must have been particularly forgettable, but it felt like the sort of thing that you would have been excited to know that I would have given a whole click to.
Any guesses, Josh? Any guesses on what Schaefer, like, because Josh peruses the odd news every single day. Anything going on in your mind over there?
I'm going to go Ed Ogeron taking his shirt off at a wedding this weekend, which we will talk about in the next segment.
I don't know that I would have clicked on that because that just seems like something he naturally does everywhere he goes.
That's right.
But couldn't you just see him going into a nice restaurant and being like, all right, you know what? Time for Ed O to go. And then he just takes his shirt off and eating his lobster with a bib, shirtless.
He's like did you ever watch iCarly? He's Gibby from iCarly.
I have never watched an episode of iCarly.
You know, I was probably way too old to be watching some iCarly, but I did watch some iCarly. So there's a kid on that show who just takes his shirt off everywhere. That's Ed Orgeron.
I wonder if that version of that, like I probably watched more Lizzie McGuire than I needed to as a older high schooler. Would that be the similar time frame then?
I'd say so. Like I'm mildly embarrassed to say that out loud, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just admitted it on the radio, so I don't feel great about that. But here we are.
Yeah. All right. Put it on the put it on the internet that Schaefer watched Lizzie McGuire too old.
Sure did.
All right, Schaefer. See you later.
See you guys.
Mike Schaefer, Husker 247, also watched Lizzie McGuire into his 20s. Who knows? I don't know. What was the run dates on that show?
Probably a while ago.
Lizzie McGuire. Schaefer's like 4 years older than me, I think. Okay. 3 or 4 years older than me. Last episode was 04 live. They had to have been doing reruns into the, I don't know. Schaefer's probably, high school age, and he's still watching some Lizzie McGuire. That's cool, man.
Yeah, but
everybody had it.
Not terrible.
I'm saying I watched some iCarly probably when I was in high school. I like that show.
Not terribly shocking.
I got no problems with it.
I went through an Olsen Twins phase in high school.
All right, get a couple texts on iCarly for the 402. That's me in section 220. Call me Gibby Boy. I love iCarly. That's from the section 220 boys.
There you go. You're finding some similar thinking people.
And Venmo Chris writes in, holy crap, an iCarly reference on the Happer show, not on my bingo card today. LOL. You never know what you're going to get when you turn into the Connor Happer show. Wherever we may be, Josh.
We
be. That's right. That's a sentence. Back with the odd news next on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show.
Who's pitching tonight?
You Darvish, having a great year.
The Connor Happer Show.
I know about that guy.
On 1620 The Zone.
What a mess.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Here's a comment from Matthew McMaster.
Matthew McMaster?
I believe so.
Wow.
I have reason to believe that this is the Matthew McMaster.
Okay.
I'm still in my Olsen twins phase.
Wow.
Which I don't even know what that means. Where are they?
They don't work.
That-
I
yeah.
mean, they do things in like the world of fashion, but not any on-camera work.
Yeah, I don't know.
The third sister, Elizabeth, is in front of the camera more.
I don't think you can be. What is your Olsen twin like? What's part of the Olsen twins phase? When I think Olsen twins, I think when they were the baby on Full House.
Full House.
Yeah.
They matured into the movie New York Minute.
Never saw it.
Not shocking.
Yeah.
Came out in 2004.
Yeah, that would have been around the time where I was kind of watching movies, you know? There was a third Olsen twin, apparently, and she's the more famous one. Or a third, not a twin, a sister.
Great question. Who's more famous, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen or
Elizabeth?
Olsen?
It's got to be her now.
I think so.
I hear about her way more than the other two. I think it's probably by design for the other two. Yeah. And a comment from Sindelar, who once again gifted us with this beautiful Coca-Cola cooler.
Thank you, Sindelar.
Lizzie McGuire walked so iCarly could run. Where Stibbs follows up and says, Sindelar is right. Hey, man, if, you know, we could say it out loud. It's okay. There's some things that we did when we were kids. We probably were for kids, but we're a little bit older. That's okay to say it out loud. Josh, what was your thing? Were you watching a kid's show when you were in high school? Were you checking out what was going on PBS? Clifford the Big Red Dog, maybe?
Oh. I'm sure there was something. I mean, I watch cartoons all the damn time.
Just what do you think of it? Let us know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, odd news. Let's do
it. You're familiar with the poop cruise?
The poop cruise. Oh, yes. I've heard a lot about this, actually. I don't want to hear about it anymore.
You're going to hear a little bit more about it. This is the hot doc on Netflix right now. An infamous Carnival cruise back in 2013, which is now, and this is maybe the most difficult word in the English language for me to say, colloquially referred to as the poop cruise. Sewage backed up, and they're on a boat. They have nowhere to go.
Yes,
for 4 or 5 days. Trainwreck Poop Cruise on Netflix tells the story of the fateful journey. Jamie Lamb, a bachelorette party attendee from the cruise, featured in the documentary, revealed on social media that she missed out on an interview with Michael Jordan for GQ magazine.
Oh, no.
Because she was trapped on the poop cruise.
Yeah, that's yeah. I'm not going to compare what that's like, too, but you know what I'm thinking.
In a lengthy video posted on her Instagram, Lamb discusses much of what the media, including the Netflix documentary, missed about the so-called poop cruise.
Oh, there's more stories?
Sure. How could there not be? Most of what Lamb had to say highlighted the positives that the documentary failed to touch on. People helping people, sharing medicine.
Oh, God.
Taking care of each other's children.
This is absurd. Who cares? Dear Lord.
Later in the video, Lamb shares a personal story about the cruise, how the cruise changed the entire trajectory of her career as a freelance sports writer. I was a sports writer at the time, got the opportunity of my life. It was to cover Michael Jordan in Houston for GQ. I've been wanting to write for GQ since I was like 15. I finally get the opportunity. I go on the cruise and lose all my cell service, and I ghosted GQ magazine. I ghosted Michael Jordan's agent, and I never got that opportunity back. I emailed and called as soon as I had service, but they never answered me.
Don't go on the cruise if you really care about it that much, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
you know? That is a possibility you need to account for. This changed my life, she continued. Less than a month later, I decided to pack up my stuff and move to Hawaii. I wrote a book and kind of lived off the grid. I slowly became a better person. I know who I was on the cruise ship, that I was bitter, I was angry, I was partying. I just wasn't a good person.
Where is this? Where is she writing this?
This is on her Instagram.
Dear, what do you mean on her Instagram? Writing on her Instagram? Is she writing novels?
You can do that. They let you.
I don't need any more firsthand accounts of the stupid poop cruise on TikToks or whatever. Like I've somehow stayed off that algorithm and I don't care to know any more about it.
Stibbs in the YouTube chat. Hi, Stibbs.
Hi, Stibbs.
How about that dumper? The last 10 minutes of the documentary was everyone saying how amazing the staff and people were. Shut up, lady.
Thank you. Thank you for adding that context, Stibbs. That makes a lot of sense. This lady just wants a slice of the pie.
Seems like it.
Wants her 15 minutes.
I feel like she wanted to flex that Jordan story. Like, hey.
I could have had an interview with Michael Jordan. Yeah. Well, then why didn't you? You should have stayed on mainland.
That's right.
Okay.
And we alluded to this in our conversation with Schaefer. Ed Orgeron had an interesting weekend. He went to a wedding, ripped his shirt off, and started dancing like crazy. He was back in Louisiana this weekend for does he ever leave? For a former LSU staffer's wedding, and one of the guests captured the coach grabbing the mic and giving a passionate speech at the reception. I don't have the audio because it's Ed Orgeron, and you wouldn't know what he's saying anyway.
Good.
After his party pump-up, Coach O busted a couple of dance moves in front of a live band and started unbuttoning his shirt.
He's Gibby. I'm serious. Have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen Gibby?
I have not.
All right, I'll pull up a picture.
Okay.
Keep going if there's anything more.
Nothing more on Ed.
So
but I do agree that this is just kind of what he does now. It's got to
He
be,
just
right?
goes to places and takes his shirt off. This is basically Ed Orgeron.
People expect it, so he does it.
If you want to, if you want to make a graphic out of this, Josh, you could feel free or whatever you're going to do with this. But this is it's pretty funny. It was a good bit by him.
It looks like baby Ed Orgeron.
That was him. He just showed up in places and started taking his shirt off. This is what Ed Orgeron does now, and he's not been afraid to tell people that he made a bunch of $1 million from getting fired from LSU, and he's a fan of it.
Yeah, I hit on
Good
that.
job by him.
Yeah, I hit on that guy's pregnant wife. I don't care. I got paid.
Absolutely. And he was not the guy who was hanging out in front of Zestos a couple of years ago. That was not him. Don't put it on the internet it was him.
A second wedding story has hit the odd news as Jeff Bezos had a wedding this weekend. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Actually, no.
He rented Italy or something like that.
He rented Italy.
People are very upset.
That's awesome.
That he was able to rent Venice or something like that.
What do you mean? Everybody had to leave?
Everyone had to stay the hell away from him, I believe.
That's dope.
And people were upset. Turns out Tom Brady got a little smitten this weekend.
He fell in love?
He would like to. According to reports from many, many, many outlets, Sydney Sweeney was the main target for all single men at the Bezos wedding, which cost $40 million, chump change to the Amazon founder.
How did Sydney Sweeney get invited to the Bezos wedding?
I don't know. I'm going to be honest. Tom Brady, Leonardo DiCaprio, Orlando Bloom, and Sydney Sweeney are in the thick of Party Central at the Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez wedding in Venice.
Orlando Bloom, now single.
Right, fresh off the market.
Yeah.
Or on the market, I guess it would be. Sounds like Tom is making his move. He was seen.
No, he is not.
Following her to several different places like a lost puppy. Many are comparing it to. It appears that Sydney chose someone else, though. She was spotted on a stroll in Naples, not just with Brady, but with Orlando Bloom.
Can we leave her alone? All right.
Great take.
That's my take. Can we leave her alone? I don't care. I don't care about what she's doing, and I don't think anybody else should either.
She went on walks with men.
Leave her alone.
What a hussy.
She was at a wedding and she was talking to somebody. Okay, big deal. All right.
She was probably like, "Oh, Orlando Bloom.
Used
to be in movies."
Is the headline here? Like, I just don't want the headline to be, "Oh, Sydney Sweeney, many suitors for Sydney Sweeney," and then you get a certain idea about Sydney Sweeney. No, the headline is Tom Brady is horny. Tom Brady is a horny.
The headline should be bonk.
Exactly. That's what it should be. Bonk. Yes. Tom Brady.
Yeah. Leo, bonk. She's too old for you, Leo.
100%.
Orlando Bloom, Come on, take some time for yourself.
Yeah.
Work on Orlando first.
Take a week off.
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. Charles writes in.
Hi, Charles.
Sydney Sweeney is a gifted actress. No dispute from me.
Many would say she has 2 gifts.
I would say many gifts.
Many.
Don't let this quote scare you. Ooh. After this on 1620 The Zone.
He does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I misspoke earlier and I said that sports were dead. Wrong.
Oh, thank God. Whew.
Watching a 5-setter right now with Mr. Alcaraz and Fonini from Italy. Was he mad that he had to leave his own country because Jeff Bezos had his wedding?
I couldn't practice. I wanted to.
It's a 5-setter. Alcaraz is a 3-love lead.
Look at you knowing all the terms.
In the final. Well, is it love when they have 0 points for the set?
I believe so.
It's still love? Because I thought love was just point in the inside of the point.
It is definitely that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. It's Fonini's trying to get himself a point, though.
Look how
I know about the tennis.
Look how clean the grass is right now.
That is the best part about Wimbledon. People will tell you that the Wimbledon final is the best day. No, it's the day where the grass is good, which is the first day. But then as the week goes on, the grass becomes more and more worn down and things like that. And then it looks kind of ugly by the time the Wimbledon final rolls around. Oh, look, they have one of these cool replays going on. Out.
Look how quick and simple it was.
That's how it could be in Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But they won't do it. So, I don't know, looks like Mr. Alcaraz is going to be okay. But
quite a scare.
A little scary here.
First round.
Watch out. And then the Sinner guy, he's still number 1. He also plays tennis today. Wimbledon. Tennis.
It lasts a fortnight.
Did you hear the Wimbledon update? I did.
I did.
If you're watching along with this on the stream, you didn't.
Sad.
That's why you have to listen to 1620 The Zone, terrestrial radio. Also, sports are still back. Nebraska has received another football commitment from Leon Noyle. What is going on with these names? I love names like this. We got Leon. We got Claude. Maybe they'll have Claude. They got Claude.
We're still making Claude.
Claude is committing later this afternoon. Some people seem to think he's going to end up committing to Nebraska. Schaefer seemed to intimate that.
Okay.
But in the meantime, it's 3-star offensive tackle Leon Noyle out of the famous Edna Carr High School in New Orleans. Josh commits to Nebraska over, looks like Mississippi State, UCF, Ole Miss, and Baylor. Get that New Orleans pipeline going.
That's what we need.
Mike Riley tried to get it cooking for a little bit. Didn't work. Didn't work.
Be tough for that guy to get those.
Well, they
guys
had some guys
done.
in their staff.
Okay,
and they were going with it for a second. It didn't end up well. We got a tweet here from John, our guy John Thune sucks not.
That's his name.
Mowing a golf course as a career, indeed. The Wimbledon grounds are spectacular. Very, very beautiful stuff. Did you know? Many people went and watched the Kansas City Royals this weekend in Kansas City play the Los Angeles Dodgers.
So many people.
Many people were rooting for Ohtani and Ohtani only because they don't know ball. But I was watching on TV. They weren't kidding about that Bermuda grass. Mm-hmm. Whoa. That stuff looks good. So a couple weeks ago, they put that in and the outfield looked all weird. It was like Cag's first game. And they put it in and it just, it hadn't coalesced, all come together yet. So it was kind of patchy and spotty. Hadn't taken yet. Exactly. Ask Sindelar about this stuff. But now, wow, it looks magnificent. Magnificent. I love a Bermuda grass. Poll question. Ooh. Do you love Bermuda grass? Because I certainly do.
I think sometime over the next 6 weeks, you got to get Sindelar here and you two just talk grass.
Maybe that'll get Sindelar back on Twitter if we put that poll question out that says,
do you love Bermuda grass?
Do you love Bermuda grass?
It's up.
Okay. Excellent. Sam writes in on Twitter. Now I wish Mike Riley had tried the Brian Kelly fake Cajun accent. My family. I wish that would have happened too.
Yeah.
But he did not. Also, Travis writes in, people forget about Sethan Carter. It was one of them. Yeah. All right. Don't let this quote scare you. Okay. So this is a Nebraska football topic. This is a topic alert. Okay. So Dana Holgorsen, remember
Holgo The O-Co.
Do you remember on Friday when we had Sipple on the show and I asked him how his little sit-down interview with Dana Holgorsen went, and he said, I was in my truck, Happer.
It wasn't a sit-down.
It wasn't a sit-down. I called him on my phone. And I was like,
Sipple.
whatever, Sipple, okay. But you talked to him. And he's like, yeah, I got another part coming out this weekend. Well, this is from that part.
Wow.
Here is a quote from Dana Holgorsen. Quote, talking about the offensive line. Those guys up front look good. He did not say they look good. Oh, I have to check with Sipple and make sure he did not say that.
Yeah, does Holgo
those
know
guys
the
are
bit?
good. Those guys up front look good. I think it's going to be the deepest we've been. That was an issue last season. You get a couple guys hurt and it could be a problem, but our numbers are good. We're recruiting well there. We're developing kids there who are coming into their own. Plus, we're getting healthy. So I think it's going to be the deepest it's been. I've got all the confidence in the world in Coach Raiola to get those guys playing well together. Then if something happens to one or two of them, you could plug some people in there to keep it going. I think we're in a good spot when it comes to that. He adds, the two most important things are always the quarterback and what's in front of him. I'm looking forward to working with those guys when I get back from vacation, which is still
not now. I'm not.
Now,
not there.
did he get kicked out of Italy because of Bezos's wedding, or was he at Bezos's wedding?
Oh, wow.
So he was in Hungary not Hungary, Austria for the weekend for the F1 race.
Whoa.
Yeah, the F1 Austria was yesterday.
Okay.
Because his son is an F1 guy. Classic Gen Z. I don't know. Probably millennial. He's probably, I don't know. I don't know how old Dana Holgorsen's son is. Anyway, when you hear the quote that says, hey, those guys up front, they're looking pretty good. I think it's going to be the deepest we've been. What does that sound like to you?
So
what was the first thing that popped in your head, Josh?
I'm not doing a bit. I know this is the exact thing you want me to say, but it is the exact way I feel.
Yeah.
Makes me think of Scott Frost.
Interesting. I thought it might, Josh. I thought it
practice. Had her best week of practice.
Had her best week of practice. I feel like every year he would say stuff in the summer like this or in preseason camp. He'd be like, people would ask him about a certain position group and he would say, yeah, well, I think it's the best we've been. Second year, third year. I think it's the best we've been. We're probably the best and deepest we've been there. I think this is our most together team. And they just come up with all these anecdotes and all these little things about how this is the best they've been. So,
like, it's not even coach speak. It's like specifically like just gassing up a unit.
For the reason that you just said that, and I knew that's kind of what people might think when they hear a quote like this. Like, I think this is the best we're going to be. I want to warn people to not be scared of it. I think it's okay. And I think, in fact, it's a good thing for the coach to come out and be like, hey, look, I think we're going to be pretty good here. And this is definitely the best that it's been since I've been here or whatever. But I think people hear that. And my mind went to the same place, Josh, and immediately think back to Frost saying stuff like that all the time. So let's say this. Don't be scared of this. It's a good thing. The question will be the same as it was for when Frost was saying all the stuff like this, or was when Riley was saying all the stuff like this. Yeah, what did he say about, what did Rule say about Raiola a couple weeks ago? He's a billion steps ahead from where he's been before, or something like that.
Light years ahead.
He's 100 steps, 10 steps, however many was the maximum steps ahead. That's where Dylan Raiola was. The question for this staff will be the same as it was for all the previous staffs. And yes, admittedly, it did not work out in a positive light for any of those staffs. But can they take solid enough talent and get something out of it? I'm not sure yet. But I like when the coaching staff sets the expectations. I like when they say, look, it's all on us. Now, I don't think Frost was saying that probably I think he was literally trying to pump sunshine and Kool-Aid at that point. I think for this staff, it's more about like, yeah, I think we're good enough to win. And guess what? If we don't win, then you know who to call. It's me. Seriously.
Yeah.
I think that is in their DNA. I get the sense that Rule in particular does not mind having his back up against the wall a little bit. Now let's go back and look at some of his prior experiences. How'd that work out in Carolina?
Not great. They don't like them.
Like the submersible, Josh.
Oh no.
Just,
tough but fair.
And he really never had that kind of pressure anywhere else. But I do think it's kind of in the DNA a little bit of Rule to say, you know what, screw this. We're going to do it our way. At least the decisions and the moves in the offseason have made me feel like that so far. And to a certain extent, like I said, I think a lot of the staffs, a lot of the previous staffs have been through this. You try and get a lay of the land a little bit in your first year or two. What's going on here? I think there is probably a certain amount of acquiescing to what people tell you about a place. Like what has every coach said when they got here? Man, here's what I did when I took the job. I studied up on the history, and I started talking to people. You know what the history told me? Tom Osborne. That guy rocked.
Mm-hmm.
Great take. But what did he do? What made it special? And you listen to all the people who have been around here for years, and what will they all tell that new coach? They'll say, I'll tell you what made it great. The walk-on program, the strength and conditioning, the building through the offensive line.
I've heard a lot of this before.
All that stuff,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it would behoove the new coach at that time to say, God, I think you're right. And I think we could just, we could take that little formula and we could adapt it. And then we could just make this thing as good as it was in the 90s. Like every coach has thought that. Every new coach has thought that. We could build this the way that they want us to build it. And we could restore this the way people around here want it to be restored. Rule said that like almost verbatim in his first 2 years. He's like, we're going to put on a program that people around here are going to be proud of. I still think they're going to try and do that, obviously, which just means they're going to have all the character and all that stuff that goes into running a successful football program. But guess what? When you're 2 years in and you're 500 and you've been to one bowl game and you won, people forget that, Josh.
That's right.
They won that bowl game. You're 500. You've been to one bowl game and you're going on year 3 and people aren't exactly sure what to think and they're waiting and they're waiting and they're waiting. Your best course of action is to do it however the hell you want to do it. Your best course of action is not to listen to the people who say this is how it needs to be built and this is what you need to do and this is how you build it successfully at Nebraska. Your best course of action is to do it whichever way you think is going to get you to that finish line faster. At a certain point, you just drop all that other crap and you're like, we're going. And I love that. Like, I think this is the real, the pressure is sort of on a little bit, right? I don't think.
Oh, definitely.
I don't think if you lose however many games this year, you get fired. And I don't think we're having that conversation yet. Mostly because I don't think it goes bad enough to this year to the point where we're having that discussion. But I do think we're at an inflection point, and I'm excited to see what they're made of. Right? I find it frustrating a little bit that the new coaches, always kind of. Have you felt that before? I mean, you maybe we don't realize it at the time because the new coach comes in. And frankly, what are they doing, Josh? They're telling people what they want to hear. They're telling people everything they want to hear. So what has to happen at that introductory press conference in order to get in the good graces of this fan base? You have to talk about Tom Osborne.
Love Tom. I was so lucky to get to talk to Tom on the phone.
He
when
gave
they
me
hired
his blessing, and frankly, he's still sharp. And I think he could be my offensive coordinator today. And I think there's a lot of people.
I begged him. I said, Tom.
I said, Coach, why don't you come back? Why don't you come back? And he said, no, I'm too old. And so guess what I did, though? I extracted a little bit from that conversation, and I will continue to extract from those conversations. And we will take the things that he did that made this program good, and I will use him as a resource at all times, and we will win doing that. And everybody in the crowd says, oh my God, I'm going to pass out. That was an incredible speech. They're telling you what you want to hear. And not that that's a bad thing, But we've yet to see any coaches. Like, I think it has hindered coaches. At times at Nebraska. I don't know that that's the reason for their lack of success early. But I can tell you that this is the only job that Matt Rule has had, certainly at the college level, where that existed at all. Because when he went into his other 2 jobs as a coach, he just ripped everything out and built it his way every single time.
Hard to hit the ground running here.
That was not the case here. That was not the case here. Remember, they looked at that roster and they were like, ooh, this is interesting. I feel like we can kind of win. I feel like we can bridge this gap a little bit. And it didn't, it didn't really take. This is different. This is a new set. This is a new group of guys. And I think assuredly it is a different mindset. A lot because I think they have their backs up against the wall. Why don't we just start having coaches with their backs up against the wall immediately?
Interesting concept.
Yeah,
interesting theory.
Yeah, maybe we just start telling people after the first year is like, nope, don't say any of that stuff to me anymore. We will fire you. After I don't know. Like, I don't know what the right solution is, but I do think we're at that inflection point with this staff. I'm excited to see what they're made of. And I don't want the past experiences of us looking at a quote and saying, oh man, Frost said it was the best practice ever. And it turns out he was a liar or he was just trying to pump sunshine at us. And this is basically the same thing. He's following all the same footsteps. I think to a certain extent, in the first year or 2 years, a lot of these new coaches at Nebraska have followed in a lot of the same footsteps as each of their predecessors. You figure it out, you see what's going on, and then ultimately, once you get to that third year, Riley got fired after his third year. Frost went into his third year in 2020. So I don't know what that was.
Doesn't count.
But it was after 2021, they give him a little bit more leeway. After 2021, they, had staff changes. And by that point, it was obviously too late. Bo's third year was 2010. He didn't have any of this. He didn't really have a lot of this. Callahan's year was 2000. Callahan's third year was 2006. It just feels like at some point you get to this point. And then you find out. Hopefully it's not too late. And hopefully that makes sense. Let's get to some texts here. From the 402.
Hi, 402.
Did Dana talk about guys throwing up?
Yeah. How many pukes were there?
Great question. I did not see that in the Sipple article. Maybe it was left on the cutting room floor.
Come on, media. Follow up.
Aaron writes in.
Hi, Aaron.
I think the biggest difference with Frost is it started out as he believed it, and by the end, it was false bravado. I think Rule has truth as well, and now is it false bravado? I don't think so, but it's obviously a wait and see. No, I think that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
But just because it hasn't worked out in the past, and it definitely was sunshine pumping and false bravado at the end there for Frost, or in the middle there for Frost, trying to convince people, hey, this is definitely still the right thing. This is definitely still the right thing. This is definitely still the right thing. Just because the new coaching staff or the current coaching staff is saying that doesn't mean it's false. It just happened to be because the last time, I don't know, we might have some scars from the last guy.
Yeah, maybe it's more of an us problem.
Here's a text from Happer's meme guy.
Hi, Happer's meme guy.
We aren't having that discussion regardless because Nebraska doesn't have $55 million to pay Cattle Clout Coach Prime to go away.
Whoa.
Oh, wow. That's a new nickname. So what do we have now? Big Fat
nickname.
Mouth. That's what John calls him.
Middle school rule.
Middle school rule. That's Greg of Myrtle Beach, of course. A classic.
Oh no.
Sorry. Cattle Clout Coach Prime.
He's okay, everybody.
I think so. We're still surviving, by the way, on this whole cough thing. I think I've made my daughter sick.
Oh no.
Yeah, so now we've started the cycle of sickness that I've heard about for years and years and years, and apparently it never ends. You just go back and forth forever
It's
and ever. Yeah.
You got one of those things to suck the snot out of her nose?
Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, I actually do too.
She hates him though.
It's kind of cool.
She hates him.
The technology's neat.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to click on this during the break.
Would Happer click this link?
Yes, I would. This email from Matt. It's
Hi,
a
Matt.
YouTube link. CBS Morning Show interviewed the groundskeeper and staff at Wimbledon about the grass, and it was really interesting. That's going to be a click for me during the break. All right. Any thoughts on that? We'll take it. 402-951-1620. The Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. You could also text that number as well. Don't forget, George Shea, the MC of the Nathan's Famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest coming up on Friday, will join us at 1. He is also the commissioner of Major League Eating. How dare you?
That's right. The commish.
And I don't think I mentioned this. Top 5 poll questions of the month of June.
It's the last day of June.
Coming up in about 20 minutes. Stay tuned. More coming up on the Connor Happer Show in 1620 The Zone. right, I got one thing for you on this. This is Tony Petitti. Remember him?
The Petitti man.
The Petitti man. He's the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference. I got to watch this afterwards because this will probably create some discussions for us tomorrow to have or throughout the week.
Oh, he came out of his ivory tower?
He went on Joel Klatt's podcast, Honk Honk. The Big Noon Conversations, I think it's called, with Joel Klatt.
Is that what Rule was on last year?
Yeah, I think Rule was on there.
And they just replayed the hell out of it. Anytime it rained.
Oh yeah, because remember he went. They played golf, or was that one?
Maybe.
Anyway, so I this is the one thing he had the quote that said, "We are not asking to be handed anything. We want to play tough playing games. We want to create incentive for schools to schedule tougher non-conference games." Of course, Tony Petitti currently is the person who is advocating, I suppose, for a college football playoff in which the Big Ten and the SEC get 4 automatic qualifiers.
Just let them in.
The SEC has since split off from this thinking. Well, Tony Petitti has some compromise. Are you ready? So here's Tony Petitti's, I guess Klatt floated this idea, and then Petitti didn't say no to it. So it further drives home the point of the Big Ten doesn't actually care about it. This is what I've always thought. I don't think the Big Ten actually cares about this. They just have bad PR. But Ross Dellinger grabbed this. He said, in this interview, Joel Klatt brings up a proposed format of so the Big Ten's the model that it is currently supporting is 4 Big Ten, 4 SEC, 2 ACC, 2 Big 12, and then 1 G5, 1 Notre Dame, 1 at large, right? The 4-4, 4-4-2-2, 1-1-1-1-1, whatever that is, right? But 4 automatic bids for the Big Ten and the SEC. So the idea for a format that Joe Klatt brought up was, why not do this? And I do have one immediate reaction to why not this. How about a 4-4? So the Big Ten and the SEC still get their 4 automatic bids.
Okay.
And now Klatt is proposing that the ACC and the Big 12 each get 2.5 spots in the college football playoff. 4-4, 2.5, 1-2. And I'm sure you're asking Connor, how do 2.5 teams make the playoff? Great question.
I am thinking it.
No.
A second coughing fit has hit the Happer show. You want me to get that trash can ready?
I'm not going to puke. Okay. How did 2.5 teams make the playoff from a conference? Was this explored on the podcast? I hope so. But the idea is, where the half comes from is that
it would be a flex spot.
A third place Big 12 and ACC team would play each other.
Whoa, that's even dumber.
For the right to get into the playoff, the winner gets the third AQ and the loser dies or gets boiled.
It's the
something like that.
It's the 11 seed play-in game where it has to be between power conference team.
Petitti. So Joe Klatt brought this up, and Tony Petitti, the Big Ten commissioner's response was, quote, "Send us whatever you want to send and we'll look at it." The 5+11 or that, whatever the hell that was. Dear God.
I mean, if we're going to take the idea seriously, one of the main problems I have with that is
you don't like when half teams make the playoff?
And boy, I just feel like you're really saying the quiet part out loud that way. The quiet part is the Big Ten and SEC run this thing. Okay?
That's right. That's right.
We all know
it's not that quiet anymore.
We all know it to be true. It's not a secret, but boy, making them fight for literal scraps seems like
Tony Stark built us in a cave. Some scraps. That's
It's a good Jeff Bridges.
Thank you. Travis says, for the life of me, I cannot understand why we can't just do the 5 AQs for the conference champs. Great question.
Seems like the simplest solution.
It does. But simplicity is not the goal here, Josh. It's how do we get the most clicks? How do we get the most money?
Please, sir, can I have some more money?
Aaron writes in,
hi, Aaron.
This is just the playing game for the NCAA tournament, only dumber.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So that's what the Big Ten's cooking today.
I'm sorry.
That's our new segment, by the way. What's cooking in the Big Ten?
What would that game have been?
The third place AC. All right, which conference are you
looking up the Big 12.
All right, I'll look up the ACC.
Please keep in mind, 4 teams finished the Big 12 year at 7-2.
A tiebreaker question is very, very important here.
BYU is listed as the 3rd team in the Big 12 standings last year.
Miami was sole possession of 3rd place last year, and they missed the playoff by 1 spot, right?
Would you watch a
BYU Miami? Actually, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the answer to all this stuff is would you, if the question is would you watch it, the answer is duh.
Mormons versus convicts.
Like, I'm going to watch it, but the follow-up, the retort was your question from earlier, which is why is this so hard? Why does this need to be so complicated? Travis asked a similar question. That I do not have an answer to. 2.5 teams. It's very funny. It's very, very funny. Speaking of stupidity, have you seen what the Pac-12 is going to look like starting next year?
I have not memorized it.
Okay, this will be fun then.
Oh, no.
Yep, you just walked yourself into that one, Josh.
Sure did. Okay.
All right, so there is a new reported...
I'll play the fool.
Texas State is the newest member starting next year. That happened over the weekend. They're joining a conference that will play football with which teams?
Okay.
In 2026.
Could I please have the number of teams?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 others.
Okay. Now, I know there are some football-only schools. There's some non-football schools.
The non-football school is Gonzaga. They don't count.
I will go Oregon State, Washington State.
You got them. You got 2.
The one you think I'm not going to get, Northern Illinois. Or did they join the Mountain West?
No, that's the Mountain West.
See? Right off the bat.
Strike 1.
Okay. Boise State.
Yes. 3.
Wow, there's 4 more.
Yes. All of them end in the word state.
Sacramento State.
No. Too big of a jump.
Yeah, it did feel like a big jump.
Yep.
Because this is a major player. Pac-12's back.
Well, they're not.
Conference
it's not going to be a major
champions.
conference, by the way. This is still a group of 5 league or group of 6 now.
It's got to be Fresno State.
Yes. You should be able to get one more, and then I'm worried about your ability to get the other one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You have 3 left.
What's like a New Mexico State doing?
Not cooking there.
Okay.
No.
What they all end in state though.
Yes,
So
all 3 of the remaining teams end in state. In fact, most of the teams in this conference will have the word state attached to them.
Couldn't be.
Every single football playing member of this conference will have state as their last name.
Hilarious. Montana State, too big a jump.
No.
Oh, San Diego State.
Yes, 2 more. You're gonna get. We're out of time.
Okay,
we're out of time.
Sorry.
All right, so Colorado State.
Oh, okay, duh.
And Utah State will create the big beautiful Pac-12, which is 100% not going to be a power league.
No.
So once again,
probably the best they could do.
Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno, San Diego State, Utah State, Oregon State, Washington State, and now Texas State with Gonzaga as a non-football member. That's fun. And now it's left to the Mountain West to pick up the pieces. Here's what the Mountain West will look like starting in 2026. So you ready for this?
This is important.
Air Force.
Thank you for your service.
Hawaii, Nevada, New Mexico, Northern Illinois, football only, San Jose State, UNLV, UTEP, and Wyoming with non-football playing institutions Grand Canyon, and UC Davis. That is our beautiful new Mountain West. So I bring this up to, number one, try and remember all these things.
That's going to take a while.
It will. But mostly to ask this question. Will there be any major conference realignment in the foreseeable future? If I told you that there would not be another school that was added to or subtracted from a Power 4 league, ACC, Big 12, SEC, Big 10, until at least, what, 2030, 2035, 2040? What would you say to that? We've been pretty hot and heavy over the last 15 years here. But have we settled? Is it over?
I feel we've settled.
We killed an entire league.
Uh-huh.
An entire Power 4 league. We've consolidated from the Power 5 to the Power 4 now. Sorry, Pac-12, you're not going to be a Power League. You're not going to get voted back. Ship sailed a little bit on that one.
That Florida State Clemson thing got settled. I don't know how happy those two are, but it got settled.
So there's two things that matter here. Number one, first and foremost, TV deals.
That was my next point.
When do the TV deals end? The Big Ten made it so they get first back to the table and stuff like that.
Seems like it could be very important.
It's coming soon. 29-30 is when their contract expires. So they'll negotiate that basically in like 3 years here. The SEC ends in 33-34. The ACC still doesn't end until 2036. Remember, that contract was born in like 1984. And the Big 12 ends in 2030, 2031. So they go back to the table before the SEC does and after the Big 10 does. And then there's the second thing, which is Notre Dame.
That would be the one.
Notre Dame is the one thing, the one school that could make dominoes fall in this. But call me naive, Josh.
All right, you're naive.
Thank you, because I deserve it, because I'm about to say this. I don't think anybody's moving for the next 15 years.
Whoa, that I'd meet you at 5.
15. 2040. Put it on the long-term list.
Wow. Okay.
No power school is moving conferences. Can I get a Notre Dame exception? Can I get a Notre Dame clause in the contract?
Sure, I'd allow it.
Thank you. I am sort of negotiating my own deal here.
My child will be 21.
Whoa. How much do you think hats will be then? A lot.
$75 minimum.
You're going to have bought him a lot of hats.
To steal them from the College World Series.
Yeah. I don't think anybody's moving. I don't think anybody's going anywhere. I think we blew the whole thing up, and now the dust is settling. And frankly, that's a good thing. The Texas and Oklahoma thing happened. The UCLA, USC, Oregon, Washington thing happened. The Big 12 settled. You know, if you listen to Big Idea Commissioner, man, he's like, I love everything. This is the best. I love it. You know, I suppose there's like, we could get some straightening out with the ACC, you know, like that whole thing, not Clemson, Florida State so much, but like the SMU, Cal, whatever, Stanford, whatever the hell that situation is. But I think we're looking good. I think that's my take. We're looking good. No more conference realignment, which I said on Friday screwed the whole thing up from the very start.
It's the reason you hate sports.
It is. Aaron writes it.
Hi, Aaron.
Okay, so the Pac conference has exactly one school that are not in the mountains, and the Mountain West has exactly like half of their schools not in the mountains. Man, I hate Texas for getting us to this point. Yes, blame Texas.
It's going to be like a Greenland, Iceland thing with the Pac-12 Mountain West.
That's right. Remember what they tell you in school? Iceland's green, Greenland's ice.
Yeah.
Rules to live by. Kenneth says, I just don't see the ACC surviving. I mean, their contract.
I mean, it has to for the length of that contract.
It's not that far away. Can they make it 10 more years? Can the ACC make it 10 more years without people defecting from it?
I mean,
and would the Big Ten
right?
and would the Big Ten in order to get more money on its TV deal, like go try and poach Florida State and Clemson. Like, no, or North Carolina. I don't think they have incentive to do that.
No.
It makes the pieces of the pie smaller.
Mm-hmm. They're already coast to coast.
The only thing that the Big Ten would do in that regard to add a team that makes everybody better and makes every piece of the pie bigger is the Notre Dame thing.
Mm-hmm. Everything
That's
else, every other team you could add is akin to Rutgers, Maryland, where you're like, oh, okay, you got bigger.
Conference
Penn State
is dead. It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Rest in peace. Maybe we'll boil it.
I can't wait for Thursday when Michael Brunts comes on and we find out that the ACC is dead.
Oh, it exploded. Tony writes in.
Hi, Tony.
I think 2035 is when they start the floating of the College Football Super League. Oh, no, the floating has begun, Tony. The floating has begun.
We're floating?
Oh, yeah. People are floating everything out there. Nothing's a bad idea these days. Sam writes in.
Hi, Sam.
Says everyone is locked until 2036 in the ACC. The Big Ten SEC deals will renegotiate before they even come up again. Yeah, they'll get those done under the table, and you won't have to, really think about it. 2 years it'll come out. Oh, the Big Ten just redid its TV deal, and they're going to make $100 billion this time. Oh, great.
Good for them.
That's fun. And they're going to get 40 teams in the playoffs, and the other conferences are going to get 2.5.
Two and a half.
George Shea is going to join us at the top of the hour, but not before the top 5 poll questions from the month of June on 1620 The Zone.
After further review, the host is deemed to be out of bounds. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
At Lenahaw, quality isn't just a promise, it's a tradition. Right now, you can save like never before. For a limited time, 25% off all trees, huge savings on featured shrubs, and summer annuals just $1. That's right, $1. Whether you're planting for shade, beauty, or both, these savings won't last long. No better time than now to bring your outdoor vision to life. Lenahaw's Garden Center, 192nd and West Center.
Just a quick note before these polls here.
Yeah.
So the NFL news today is that Jalen Ramsey is going to the Steelers. Minka Fitzpatrick going back to the Dolphins in that deal. Here is a new one from Adam Schefter. Real life Adam Schefter.
So, you've checked this. Okay.
Sources in recent weeks, multiple teams have been discussing whether they can trade for TJ Watt, who skipped the team's most recent minicamp. Pittsburgh hasn't shown any willingness to deal him so far, but he is unhappy with his current contractual situation, and sources believe outside team interest is likely to increase given today's trade.
They paid a lot of guys there in Pittsburgh, and you would think,
including Aaron Rodgers,
you would think that, hey, what about TJ? What about TJ?
Yeah, interesting. Steelers are doing some very non-Steelers things lately. Very non-Steelers things. See how that one works out for Mike Tomlin. All right, to the polls. Josh, top 5 poll questions for the month of June. I'm going to say that I was probably involved in the creation of like 1 or 2 of these.
I don't know. Now, I have removed the College World Series polls from consideration because we already did a top 5.
Okay, so I'm
College
mostly
World Series
involved in
polls.
all of them. Then.
Yeah. Most lopsided poll question of the month. Do you like being sick?
Probably what, 97%? No.
87% said
That's
no.
it?
Yes.
Bunch of weirdos.
Most voted on poll question of the month of June was, which is the better Adam Sandler Drew Barrymore film?
Oh.
50 First Dates or The Wedding Singer?
Yeah.
Yet many people were like, hey, you didn't include Blended. You're damn right I didn't include Blended.
We're asking an if or an or. It's an either or question.
Also, Blended cannot be your favorite of those 3 movies. It just can't. I'm sorry. 55.5% said The Wedding Singer.
I was close, Josh.
You were.
I was close. I gave it a run.
Which leads us to the top 5 proper. We begin.
God, come on.
Dear
take
God.
forever.
Number 5.
Hot.
Sorry about blowing your speakers out.
If you had headphones in, I apologize.
Some big bass going on in there.
Buds, you're dead. Number 5, is the bubble about to burst on Ropats?
I remember that poll question. Yeah, I do think it is.
It almost has to, right?
Yeah, we got to be getting close to the end.
Connor wearing a rope hat right now as we do this.
We're all transitioning to upside down letter hats. Join us.
64% of the audience said yes. That bubble is about to burst.
Yeah, I like that. Good poll.
Number 4.
Number 4, you probably forgot this incident happened, so this will be a good refresher. Would you make it to work on Monday after a weekend of tweaking/twerking with Cardi B?
The only reason I didn't forget
is because it's our promo.
Is because of the promo,
Yeah.
and I swear to God, I don't remember having that conversation at all. We must have talked about that for 8 seconds on the show.
We needed a promo.
Well, I know. Yeah. Why don't we just make it me not being able to complete sentences?
You don't like that. You don't like when I do that.
We all right?
I think so.
Losing some lights around here.
And they got brighter when they came back.
No, that's right, Josh. I don't like the promo, but it is kind of. I like bits.
Bits are good.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Okay. 65% said no, they would not make it to work after a weekend of tweaking and twerking with Cardi B.
Well, you got to go to work, guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes stuff happens on the weekend. You got to go to work the next day.
You get like 10 days a year, guys.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
I thought I was here every day in the month of June, but I do not remember this poll question.
Okay, interesting.
Have you ever had to worry about a hammerhead shark falling from the sky while out playing disc golf? Now, I remember that story being in the news.
Yeah, no, I remember typing in that poll question too, so it had to have been when you were gone.
Yeah.
There was a guy who was frolfing, he was frisbee golfing, and a hammerhead shark fell out of a tree or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember why.
79% of the audience said no. Why would I ever worry about that?
No, I've never been worried about frisbee golfing. So how would I be worried about that?
Yeah, you're a couple layers away from.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Long way to go.
Here comes 2.
Number 2.
What is that from, by the way?
What?
Here comes 2.
The Simpsons. They're watching a movie. It's about to start, and they have that old film strip countdown: 5, 4, 3, and then Grandpa Simpson goes, "Here comes 2."
Nice.
Top 5 poll questions of the month of June. Number 2: does Warren Buffett find farts funny?
How did this turn out?
Well,
how did this turn out?
He's of an age where I think there's a good chance he does.
Well, I think it came up because the idea was everybody thinks farts are funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe Warren Buffett was, he was kind of in the news or whatever it was. And we're like, yeah, Warren Buffett. Do you think he has a sense of humor? What's his sense of humor like?
53% of the audience said yes.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett finds farts funny.
Yeah, it's an appropriate response because I'm still not sold on if I think he does or not. Like it's a true toss-up 50-50 poll question.
Do you think we could get this question to him? Like, obviously he wouldn't come on the show, but do you think I could email the right people and they would get me an answer?
I would really like it if you tried.
All right.
Hey, you got the mayor on,
I did get the mayor.
right?
I got the mayor to come to the village.
You know people in high places.
That's right.
Was he at the Ringo concert, by the way?
I would almost assume so. Yeah, I would.
It was pretty
sure.
hot out on Friday.
But you're the mayor. You got to go to the Memorial Park display.
I heard the people were loving Ringo.
Everybody loved the music of an 80-something-year-old man.
He looks funny. I saw some pictures. I was like, that's a funny looking guy.
Great take.
Yeah.
Great take.
Poll question. Does Ringo Starr look funny?
Now, this one, I know you were not here for. I was in a room by myself for this one.
Wow.
Make it so, number one.
Self-poll question.
Number one.
Number one poll question of the month of June. If you were at a bar and Ric Flair happened to be there and crapped his pants, would you try to get a photo/video of the incident?
I have several questions.
Okay.
How did this come up?
A Redditor
that happened
who claims to be a service worker in Tampa asked in the Tampa Reddit, hey, anyone else in the service industry having Ric Flair come into your establishment, poop his pants, and leave? To which I said, now that's a very believable story given the characteristics of Ric Flair. However, if it were happening around me, I would definitely go, I need to get a picture of Ric Flair. He just crapped his pants.
A picture. I feel weird about videos. I don't want to video anybody doing anything, but I would try to sneak a picture in there, but it's very rare in which I will ever pull out my phone and just be like, I need to, I got to get this.
This one's for me.
63.5%
of the audience said yes, they would try and get some documentation. This Tampa Redditor had no documentation.
Okay. All right. Those are the polls. Good job. We got a new one from this segment. Does Ringo Starr look weird?
I think he does.
I think he absolutely looks weird. He's got to dye his hair too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Coming up next, George Shea is our guy. Who is George Shea? Well, you know him as the guy who is on ESPN every single year on the 4th of July saying just absurd things about people who eat hot dogs for a living. I've seen pictures. He's got his speeches all written out. He's got his cue cards ready to roll. I can only imagine what the Joey Chestnut hype speech is going to look like this year for his return to Coney Island.
He's had to have noodled with it already.
The commissioner of Major League Eating, George Shea, joins for the third time on this show next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Rolling hot dogs 2 for $5 on a fluffy bun. All beef hot dogs rolling in. Hurry, cause they're on the run. Pick your toppings anyway. Roll into this deal. Pick your 2, big Q2. Roll and mix a meal. Mustard relish, sauerkraut. Ain't no need to scream and shout. Get 2 all beef hot dogs and a big Q for $5. Only at QT. More than a gas station.
I don't know about you guys. I wake up on the 4th of July, and like I said earlier, sometimes you're going a little bit slow. Maybe you enjoyed the fact that you don't have work on the 4th of July the previous night, and you get started on the festivities a little bit early for the weekend. Then you wake up on 4th of July proper, and you're starting a little slow that day. Perfect time to turn on the Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest, which takes place on the 4th of July every single year on Coney Island. And there's a familiar face and voice that goes along with that. George Shea is his name. We are pleased to have him back on the show. George, great to talk again. How we doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much for having me on.
Of course. Now, we have to refamiliarize people with this every year. You are also the commissioner of Major League Eating as well. I don't know that people actually know this about you.
Well, yes, it's a fairly important role. Major League Eating is the world body that governs all stomach-centric sports. And so, but as part of that role, I emcee the Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Contest on the 4th of July, and that gives me the opportunity to be up close as obviously these athletes do their thing.
Hey, so do you assign yourself to this, or so if you wanted to, you could remove yourself from being the MC of this contest? Not that you would want to in any way, shape, or form, nor should you at all, but you are technically in charge of who is in that position. It just so happens to be you.
Yes, and my brother is president of the organization. We have a partner, Dave Baer, but I have always hosted the 4th of July. And so if I fired myself, I would be very disappointed. But you never know. It's a difficult job and work environment.
Yeah, well, clearly. I mean, I've seen. I was looking at your tweets from last night. You got the cue cards. There's a big, headliner this year. Before we talk about Joey Chestnut and what we're going to get this year with him returning. What was last year like, where you had Patrick Bertoletti, he knocked down 58 dogs and buns, but as everybody kind of, in the lead up to it, people realized, oh wow, Joey Chestnut isn't going to be here. How was it last year without that, to start things off here?
Well, Patrick is a great champion, has been around for decades, ate 58 hot dogs and buns, and has been a great champion since. And it was a great event out there. The crowd was as big as ever. We got more press last year than I think we've ever gotten.
Wow.
But I do think a lot of fans really associate Joey with the contest and would have wanted him there, as we did. So, that was I would not say that there was any diminution of the enjoyment of the event. It was a crazy, fantastic event. But I do think, with that said, that there will be a lot of excitement this year to see him come back.
No doubt about it. Okay, so you've already you have it all written out already. Are you in the memorization period right now for what his intro is going to be?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I have memorized it, but I'm going to memorize it further. But yeah, I have basically memorized all the men's intros and most of the women's, and then, but I will also have up there a cue card with the order, and some keywords just in case you get distracted or freeze or something. You know what's happening.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's an incredible tease, because what you tweeted out was is the card for Joey Chestnut, and it said, "We are humbled by age," and then there's more, and then formed from the shards ... And I got to say, I've never been more intrigued as to what those words are going to be after that.
They're good. They're good is all I can tell you. I'm very pleased with Joey's intro, and it really, that the intro that I've written could only be delivered for him, and I would have to do, if he were not there, I would have to do a different kind of intro for Patrick Bertoletti, maybe the Son of America has grown into the full power of a man, or something like that. But
nice.
But it's I'm very pleased with Joey's intro, and I've got a bunch of intros that I think are amusing and compelling. So to me, that is my 10 minutes, right? There's 10 minutes of intros and 10 minutes of contest, but the 10 minutes of intros is my performance, And like, I am as tense about that as Joey is about eating hot dogs. So, but when I'm done, they still have to work.
Right. What's the best part for you of that event or just that day? Like what do you find yourself thinking about the most, whether it's going into it or coming out of it?
It all boils down for me to the intros. I get on stage at 10:30. Women eat at 11 o'clock, and I do intros for them obviously as well. And then we have an opera singer. We have Badlands Booker chugging and rapping.
He's working on like Lemonade usually, right? Is that what he's doing?
I'm gonna break some news here. Badlands is going to be doing the first ever. It's an attempt, first ever 2-gallon chug.
Whoa.
And 2 gallons of lemonade. So we will see what happens. I cannot guarantee that somewhere mid-second gallon that the lemonade begins to spill over him, but we will see what happens. So that will be a spectacular event. And we're doing Nathan's has a meat stick, which is kind of like a jerky or something like that. And we're going to do a meat stick contest. Tons of stuff happens
so good
before the men's contest, but nothing matters to me except for those 10 minutes. And this year won't be televised. They will be on break. But before they come back from break and go to the stage, I will be doing to the crowd a very rousing address, probably about a minute and 40, and it will be a thunderous response, I think, and then that will essentially cap or flank the men's contest. So we'll have a very, very dramatic beginning to the men's intros and a very dramatic end with Joey intro, and that I think will be, if I can deliver that, which I fully intend to, I'll be very satisfied.
Is the pregame address kind of like is it like a State of the Union on Major League Eating, on America? Like, you tend to go really big picture with these things.
This is going to be more like we stand where we stand thanks to the heroic efforts of heroic people, and then going from there to having a code to bringing it home to the 4th of July. It will be, I'm telling you, it will be extremely well received, I suspect, by the audience. But it's not the kind of thing you would do on ESPN, because now you're going to be at 12 minutes of oratory. I mean, what is it, a poetry slam or an eating contest? So
I don't know.
So yeah.
Pretty good though. I mean, I think this is going to be something that people will have to find, and maybe they'll put it on ESPN Plus or something.
Well, it'll be available. We'll put it on all of the MLE social and stuff like that. But this is the first year I've done that. It just adds, right? So you have 10 full minutes of delivery that has to be sort of live and without fail. You add 2 more, right? So it's it just sort of adds to that weight of that. But if I can deliver that, which, as I said, I will, I think the audience will be really there, because by that point, right, they're so interested in seeing the eaters get introduced and then seeing Joey that they'll be just hyped up.
Do you ever walk down to the Nathan's stand at Coney Island and like on a non 4th of July day, and like athletes talk about like visualization all the time, and they're like, I have to prepare myself to be in this position. You ever do that on a non 4th of July day and kind of visualize?
I do not go to the location, but when I was young, I was a swimmer and I was a springboard diver, and springboard diver is very much like a performance in the sense of it's a split second, and it's not like swimming where you can go, okay, I got to speed up, you know what I mean, dig deep.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more like a performance, and I would always visualize. And in this case, I'm really trying to, I worked on the language that I've done. I mean, these are just competitive eating intros. This is not poet laureate, but nonetheless, I've worked on the language, and it's really for me a matter of delivering with modulation and delivering because you can get more if you modulate and deliver punchlines and sort of bring people along. So that's really that is not always possible in the intensity of it. Sometimes you just say what it is loud. But to do it better is to say it with nuance and modulation.
Oh yeah, the tone is really important. Give people a sense, because I've been to the stand at Coney Island where the competition is held, and it's really unique. It's a very neighborhood type of feel, but it completely transforms on the 4th of July. What is the buzz and the atmosphere like on that day every year?
So Coney Island is a hundreds of year old beach destination in New York City, and the subway goes right there to Surf and Stillwell, which is where Nathan's is, and the subway unloads there. So that's how the city, all the way from the Bronx, right, like huge city, comes to Coney Island, and they always have in the summer, and so that is an age old tradition. So they roll off of that subway, and what is usually Stillwell Avenue cutting straight to the beach, is blocked off at the corner of Surf where the subway comes, and that is just filled with people. So many of them are coming for the contest, but anyone who is not coming for the contest very frequently stays, and so that the crowd just builds and builds and builds. This is sort of like a typical boardwalk beach town, right? So a lot of honky-tonk kind of stuff, a lot of gift shops, and then the boardwalk and the beach. That's the environment. But on a day like we expect on the 4th, you never know, like 85 and sunny, it will be absolutely packed. And there is an energy that happens in Coney Island and on the 4th of July, which is sort of, for me, I love the summer. I love it. Some people say, oh, I love the fall. I love the summer. I just, beyond anything else, whether it's hot or what. And there's this energy in the summer, which is everything is lighthearted. This is summer. It's vacation time. It's, there's no cold wind. There's no nothing. It's great. And that's the vibe out there. And then you add to it the festivities and it's like people are into it.
It's awesome. Fantastic. By the way, you just mentioned the weather. What does the weather look like is it going to be hot or extremely hot? I could recall some of these in the past where it looks like a substandard environment to be eating 70 hot dogs.
Well, you know what? The truth is 85, which is what it was supposed to be when I last checked. It's not bad. It's not 90, but it's hard, right? And, it will be hot. And, generally, not always, but generally it's very, very hot. And, in 2021, it was like 74 degrees. It was like the most beautiful day in the world ever. Beautiful blue skies, but cool. It's usually in that mid 80s, high 80s, and a lot of humidity. But the eaters are used to that, but it definitely does have an effect. It would be different if you were eating hot dogs in a temperature controlled environment. It would be very different.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Lastly, George, and thanks for doing this again. So I do a little bit of emceeing. I'm at some baseball games and some basketball games. I want to ask you if you have maybe any advice for some young and up and coming MCs who are interested in how crowds react to things like you are. What is some advice that you would give to a person like me?
Well, I mean, first of all, if it's just one sentence, I would say start big and go bigger, right? But, there's you're talking about a dance that really you have to learn by doing, and every audience is different. Like Washington, D.C. audience, super sophisticated. You go to some other places in the United States, they're not as used to live stuff, and they're not going to connect quite as much, and they're different jokes and different vibe. So each place is different, but generally, what I have found is I have to be able to connect with people right away through jokes and through just to create a connection, and then use that to build and build and build, and they will come with you. If you have not built and you haven't established that, they're not coming with you. You'll be too hot. So that's that. I have been too hot many times in my youth. So it's that, but it is. I think it's very specific to the arena. You can't do what I'm doing for 2 hours at a basketball game. and
Right.
nor at a football game. I could do it at the beginning of the Super Bowl. I'm always embarrassed by what they do to begin the Super Bowl or any football game. Give me that or a prize fight, and I will bring the roof down. But you can't do that for the whole event. You know what I'm saying? Even 10 minutes on the 4th of July, you're trying people's patience, right? They're not used to this much talk.
Right. You adapt with the crowd. That makes that makes plenty of sense. Right. The same thing. I'm not going to do the same thing at a basketball game for a baseball game. Certainly not a hot dog eating contest or whatever the situation is. So didn't they do? Wasn't it a couple years ago where they had like The Rock stand up there for the pre-Super Bowl thing, and he just like said a sentence or something like that, and everybody it was supposed to get people going. I think this is an excellent idea. How do they not have you with your hat on up there, like shouting about how awesome America is and what the spectacle of the Super Bowl means for like America? That sounds like an incredible idea.
Yeah, give me, the rock on which he stands is not a rock. It is the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? Give me the mic, because I saw The Rock and I love The Rock, and The Rock is probably a billionaire, an extraordinarily successful, very creative and hardworking guy. But that did not work, right?
Yeah.
Let me do 45 seconds for one team, 45 seconds for the other, or just kick it off before someone else does that with 1 minute, and you'll see the entire thing go, because people don't do that. There is no, you have some people say, let me hear some noise.
Yeah,
right? But that's, if you have to say that, you're already lost. So people don't actually do it. There is no precedent for that kind of introductions, but they work. So, but I agree with you. Like I thought The Rock is great, but I did not think that works.
Yeah. Well, George, we appreciate this. As always, you always look like you're having the time of your life. It shows, and it even sounds like this when you talk to us before the hot dog eating contest. Fantastic stuff as always, and we're looking forward to the competition on Friday.
Thank you for having me on.
That's George Shea. He is the MC to end all MCs at the Nathan's Famous Hot Dog Eating Contest and the Commissioner of Major League Eating. Thank you, friend of commissioners. That's what we are here on this show.
We love commissions.
We love commissions. Great advice as well. Great advice.
That's just one of my favorite things we do each year.
It really is. It's got great energy. I don't know. Like it, and he truly loves it.
Like there's
seriously, so
he plays it so right. Like there's a wink and a nod to like, yeah, this is kind of silly what we're doing, but it's not overly like, hey, we're doing something funny.
So maybe is it possible that like, because I watch that thing, or it seems like I stumble upon it every year, right? Like I said, but his speeches and his intros always have resonated with me. I'm like, whoa, what is going on? And then you come to learn more about
the guy's doing something.
Yes. And so maybe I'm the only person who is interested in that, but just because, I don't know, work in entertainment or whatever it might be, and I'm like, this guy has got it all figured out. You don't understand how impressive this is. Maybe I'm the only person who thinks this, but if you get a chance, watch it on Saturday or watch it on Friday and get there on time. Like,
don't be late.
Watch when ESPN shows up and watch what our guy does with the microphone. It's magic.
It really is.
It's truly magic. All right, we'll be back where we have a little bit of news on the other side regarding Big Ten Media Days and clicks on 1620 The Zone.
let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Hey, I wanted to give a quick shout out here. Today is the last day of professional work for Andrew Ozaki. You know who Andrew Ozaki is?
I do. A lot of people listening probably don't.
They probably don't. Everybody, if you've been around Nebraska football or covering Nebraska athletics or covering anything in Lincoln for any period of time, you're familiar with Andrew, who has been the single person at the KETV Lincoln Bureau. He is literally KETV in Lincoln and has been for a very, very long time. He is retiring. So congratulations to Andrew Ozaki, a fantastic, fantastic guy and a consummate professional, as they always say, Josh. That's what people say all the time, right?
Do you have to, they do say that.
Yeah.
Do you have to get your own self a cake? Like, well, Andrew's leaving.
Yeah, I don't know how it actually worked. I never asked him. I never, like, what do you, where do you go somewhere? You know, like, I never got, I don't know maybe John would know the answer to that.
Like, you can't, like, hey, congrats on your retirement. If you come up to the Omaha Bureau, we'll have a party for you.
He's everywhere. He's asking all the questions, and it didn't matter what it was about. And he would often be the guy at like the sports press conferences to ask the question that nobody wanted to ask. Not that it was like particularly hard, but you know, kind of putting it all in perspective a little bit, like after a football game. You know, hey, what does this mean given the outside of the world events and stuff like that? Or what do you think about this person getting elected or something like that? Asking the football coach that. And it takes some guts to be that guy.
Yeah.
And he's been
that's
that
an
guy.
important role.
100%. And he's been that guy for a long time. So I just saw that recross my timeline again. So congratulations to the KTV Lincoln Bureau. I don't know what happens to the KETV Lincoln Bureau now.
Yeah, do they have to send a guy or girl out there?
Great question.
Hire a new one?
I don't know.
Is it just Jack?
I have no idea.
Hey, Jack, would you like another job?
Jack, we have something for you. Is it another job? Yes.
It's in television.
Big Ten Media Days, July 22nd through 24th, 3 weeks from today. Many folks will be flying that nonstop from Omaha to Vegas and hopping out and realize, oh my God, can I go back? I'm going to melt and die. But
that could be you.
Unfortunately, no, you can't go back. You have to stay and you have to travel to the Mandalay Bay, which is just a few blocks away from the airport. Although you'll land at the airport in Vegas and you'll look at the strip and you'll say, that's not that far away. But actually, it kind of is. Like, it takes like 15 minutes to get over there. The MGM Grand's right there. It's not really right there. It just kind of looks bigger. But anyway, people will find that out. And they'll be headed down to Las Vegas. And they'll be meeting many of our nation's finest football players. At least our conference's finest football players. Nebraska will be on day one of Big Ten Media Day. So theoretically, you could leave on Monday and come back on Tuesday if you really wanted to do a short one. Or if you could do, you could do Tuesday back out.
Could I sleep in my own bed that night?
If you really wanted to, there's an early Vegas flight and there's a late Vegas. You could do it.
That sounds pretty appealing.
You got to spend a night in Vegas, though.
Do I have to, though?
You don't have to, but you should. Okay. I'm imploring you to.
Okay.
You should spend one night in Vegas, one night that doesn't require your work attention. Whatever it is, July 22nd, Illinois, Indiana, Maryland, Nebraska, Ohio State, and Rutgers. Nebraska going on the same day as Ohio State, which tends to – there's always like an Ohio State day. The first day is the Ohio State day. But the Nebraska and Ohio State days are on the same day this year. Many media from many sides. The representatives from the schools have been made official by the conference. Josh, who will Nebraska bring to Big Ten Media Days? A summer topic has already been knocked out. Here are the players. Dylon. Yep, he's going.
Oh,
he's going.
not even old enough to go.
Need I say anything else? Dylan Raiola is going to Big Ten Media Days, along with Deshaun Singleton and Henry Lutovsky. I don't think I would have picked Henry Lutovsky on the list. Maybe I'm out of touch, but
I would have picked Rocco. I know he just got here, but
yeah, maybe they just thought like, hey, we're not going to send the transfers. Go with the guys who have been here.
I thought they might look the other way on that rule because it's kind of a sweet flex. Like, hey, that guy was on Notre Dame.
I'm glad that Nebraska didn't do the stupid thing, which many Big Ten teams decide to do, which is not bring the person that people want to talk to the most. It's a very Big Ten thing to do.
It is.
However, I will say there has been a particular school that has been very guilty of this in the past, and that is Penn State. They are bringing Drew Aller.
Hello.
But they're not bringing their really good running backs that people want to talk to. So Saquon Barkley famously didn't go to Big Ten Media Days one time. I was distraught by this. Penn State's bringing Drew Aller. So, what was the number that you said before, Josh? How many quarterbacks?
8.
8 out of 18 quarterbacks? Is that
It's a quarterback league.
So here are the quarterback representatives. Luke Altmaier. Dylan Raiola. Ethan Kaliak-Manis.
Greeky freaky.
Preston Stone of Northwestern. Would you like to talk to Preston Stone?
No.
No, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Drew
No time.
Aller. Damon Williams from Washington. People are loving that guy. Billy Edwards Jr. from Wisconsin. And none other than UCLA's Nico Iamaleava, who will be the most popular guy at Big Ten Media Days by far. People,
yeah.
And unfortunately for the Nebraska media who's trying to get in and get out, they will likely not be around for day 3 to cover Iowa, UCLA, Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue, and USC. But that'll be Nico Day. Good job on the conference there, by the way, for making that the last day.
The main event.
Oh, there's going to be some chatter about Nico. He is going to be talking. There you go. There's Big Ten Media Days. Have fun, everybody. I don't think I'm going.
I don't think anyone's going.
Well, what do you mean anyone? Everyone.
16, 20.
No, I don't think. No, I don't think so either.
Nobody really expressed an interest.
Well, I brought it up several months ago, but nothing ever happened. But I probably would have gone if assigned, Josh.
Sure.
If assigned to go to Vegas, maybe I could make it my new goal of get a free trip to Vegas every single year for the rest of my life.
That was probably your best shot.
Well, there is still yet another opportunity. Remember, the Jays are in the Mega NIL tournament again.
Which is even more mega.
Over Thanksgiving, which is a time in which I would enjoy going to Vegas.
Really?
Because it's
you hate
chilly.
your family.
No, because it's chilly here and it's a little less chilly there. Although it was pretty chilly when we were there.
That's right. You guys were like, "Oh, this is awful."
We had to wear long sleeves.
Hang out by the pool and sleeves.
It was Josh. All right. I was actually going to ask you this. So, do you want to go? Do you want to go to the Mega NIL tournament this year? If we can make it happen, do you and me? Obviously, John will be there. But do you want to go to the Mega NIL tournament and spend 3 days in Vegas before Thanksgiving?
So,
or are you going to pass?
Here's the rub.
Thanksgiving.
Yes, I very much want to go.
I know you do, because you oftentimes get left out of these things, and I feel bad about that.
Would like to go one time.
Yeah. But
it
would not go well.
That would come on the back end of a football season in which Iowa Western, I believe, has 8 road games. And let me tell you who would not be okay with that.
Yeah.
My wife!
It might not go very well for you. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, probably not. And I do not want to go to Vegas bad enough to piss off my wife.
Yeah, I understand. Just, maybe bring it up, tease it out there one day and say, what if this happened?
Do we
what
need
would you say?
Do we need some type of on-site producer
that
we could give her a gig, a role?
Interesting.
And she could go with?
Well, let me tell you this too. The best time to bring it up is now.
Oh yeah, because she'll be like, "Oh yeah, it's 5 months away. Yeah,
everything's
okay,
calm.
you can go."
It's summertime.
Just coming off the College World Series.
Yep. Just be like, hey, what if I did this for me? Of course.
You deserve it.
Of course.
You've worked hard.
I wouldn't want to waste that trip on Big Ten Media Days, to be honest with you. I would want to go to the mega NIL tournament in Vegas
Really
instead.
hot.
Yeah. Very hot. But it's nice and cool inside the casinos.
A literal desert.
Yeah. Yeah. Every day I feel like I see a video from one of those Vegas accounts and Vegas is under some sort of duress. Whether it's flooding or there's a casino closing or it's 190 degrees and nobody has air conditioning or the casinos are like, they're in bad shape because nobody wants to go to Vegas anymore because of the tariffs or whatever. I'm like, geez, I still like Vegas.
I can see that baseball stadium they're definitely building and will definitely finish.
Totally. They're definitely doing that. Josh.
Connor.
One more thing before we end this here. Can we take a moment to not have, we're going to talk about LeBron James. Okay. But
okay.
in a not very, hopefully a not very first take way. Okay. So LeBron opted in to his $52 million option. He said, I'll take that. I'll take my $52 million. But there's speculation out there that he could be using this as still a way to not be a Los Angeles Laker, at least at some point in the near future.
Yeah, what's the theory about that? I've just barely followed this story. It's like, yeah, he opted in. Okay, he's a Laker next year. Why are we thinking that, he opted in? That means he wants out.
Well, number one, because rules don't necessarily, like conventional wisdom doesn't really apply to LeBron, especially at this point in his career when he could definitely, like if he wanted to drop everything and be like, yo, I'm chasing rings, like get out of my way. Everyone would be like, cool.
I'm going to the Thunder.
That's actually a great idea. He should do that. Rich Paul told ESPN, quote, LeBron wants to play for a championship. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that, but he values a realistic chance of winning it all. We are very appreciative of the partnership that we've had for 8 years with Jeannie and Rob and consider the Lakers a critical part of his career. We understand the difficulty in winning now while preparing for the future. We do want to evaluate what's best for LeBron at this stage in his life and his career. He wants to make every season he has left count, and the Lakers understand that, are supportive, and want what's best for him.
Oh,
that's why.
That's why we're saying that. Okay,
that's why.
Those are not the words of I opted in. Correct. I'm ready to play.
Also, there was this, and this is the more clickbaity version. There was a clip of him at a restaurant in the back. Somebody was taking a video of like a sushi or something like that, and he was in the background of the restaurant. I'm dead serious. This is real. And he was having dinner with Kevin Love and others. And somebody was taking a video of their sushi or something like that. And they posted a clip of the sushi. And in the background, it was LeBron saying, yeah, Savannah wants me to bleep and retire in the next year or so.
Okay, so I saw a still image of that.
Yeah.
I had zero context.
Yeah, pretty funny.
I was like, oh, okay.
Pretty good, right?
Probably.
That's pretty awesome stuff. Pretty fantastic.
My wife also wants me to retire.
And then this hasn't been quoted, but I watched the video, and at the beginning of the video, I could have sworn I heard him say something about I've been looking at New York. Now he was in New York at the time of the dinner.
Okay.
Hashtag the dinner.
Oh, some dinners are very successful.
Yeah. Many dinners, many people talking about many dinners. But let me just say this before we take a break. I want one more LeBron decision. I want one more.
You nostalgic for it?
I do. I want one more. I want all the craziness that would come with him moving teams one more time. And you have to think about the circumstances. He's old as hell.
Yeah.
Same
graduating high school class. Yes.
Just for basketball, Josh. Okay. I think he can ask out whenever he wants. He's LeBron James, and I want him to demand to be traded.
They would do right by him.
I want him to demand to be traded one more time, and then I want to watch what happens afterwards.
This Bronny guy sucks. Get me out of here.
Give me this.
So I know we got to get going. It's the Knicks or the Lakers, right?
I don't know.
Because of his entertainment.
I have no idea.
Holdings.
I saw a whole thread from a Nuggets fan about how he might want to be a Nugget. they now don't have Trey Alexander anymore,
That's
so maybe
right.
they
What
could
the
go.
hell's up with that?
I have no idea.
I did see one internet theory where they're like, he's what was their coach's name?
Mike Malone.
Yeah, he's a Malone guy, so they had to get rid of him. I'm like, he was in the G League. How the hell could he be a Malone guy?
I don't the Trey Alexander was a Mike Malone sleeper cell. What's going on?
I don't know.
I love the NBA.
Yeah,
sometimes
it's a lot of fun.
All right, we'll be back. The polls will tell you what to watch next on 1620 The Zone. All right, let's go to the polls, Josh. At Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. Are video games just like hats? Yes.
Oh, you skipped one.
Oh, wait.
There's one even further down.
Oh, if you find something you like in a dumpster, just go and get it. It's no big deal? Question mark. Sure, I can go along with that, actually.
Okay.
73% say yes. 73%.
Wow.
It's kind of overwhelming, actually.
People support dumpster diving. Okay.
Hell yeah. The person threw it away. Why would they care?
I guess.
Are video games just like hats? Yeah. Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, they are.
56% say no. What do you guys know?
Idiots.
Do you know what's going on in Erie, Pennsylvania?
I apparently don't, because that's not how you spell Erie.
Is Erie, Pennsylvania an actual town?
It is.
Okay, good.
But it's spelled E-R-I-E.
Okay.
I spelled it Erie, like the word Erie.
84% said no, so it doesn't matter anyway. Is 1809 too recent to boil someone?
No, I don't think it is.
Anything goes at 1809.
Yeah.
51%, very close, say yes.
Ooh,
it's
vote.
tight.
Make your voice heard.
Do you love Bermuda grass? Absolutely. 60% say yes. And finally, does Ringo Starr look funny?
Sure does.
Yeah. 84% say yes.
Wow, we were onto something. Okay.
Those are the polls, Josh. What are we watching tonight?
We are watching Major League Baseball, Padres, Phillies, 5:30 on MLB Network. Bryce Harper has been activated from the IL.
Oh, great.
Phillies are tweeting a bunch of puppy photos, so something's going on there with that too. Great day for Philly. Reds, Red Sox at 6 o'clock. It's your MLB TV free game of the day. And then the Padres take on America's team, the Diamondbacks in the desert, 8:40 on FS1 tomorrow morning. And I guess it's still going on. Wimbledon day 1 is going on right now. Day 2 would be tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for following that train of thought. ESPN is where you can find that. 6 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. It is the Collegiate Women's Sports Awards show presented by Honda.
Whoa.
The broadcast.
Caitlin Clark?
Well, you tell me what you think this stems from. The broadcast will feature the 12 Honda Sport Award winners, the D2 and D3 Honda Athletes of the Year, and the Class of 2025 Honda Inspiration Award winner, the prestigious Honda Cup, recognizing the Collegiate Woman Athlete of the Year, will also be presented.
They don't have to sponsor everything. They already sponsored the whole awards show.
Everything is Honda.
I can't wait to find out who wins.
At 7 o'clock on Paramount, Top Gun Maverick is on. And finally, Connor, on AMC, you got to rush home because this starts at 4:30.
Okay.
Mr. Deeds.
Nice. I'll just pop in one of my copies on DVD. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Good. You get the unedited version and without commercials.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
So we're watching today, and that is the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Crossover coming up next.